What's going on, everyone? It's Jesse here, and you guys are on my Painting with Jesse page. I'm here a little bit early today, as I have been on my more recent painting sessions. Just like to jump on a little bit early to get things set up on my laptop so I can monitor the feed, get rid of any spammers that pop onto the page. So bear with me as I get myself situated here. I'm not sure if there's anybody on just yet, but I'm assuming some of you guys already got a little savvy. You know that I like to jump on a little bit early. Okay, so give me a second while I find my feed here on the laptop. Usually takes me a little bit, but we'll find it here in just a second, in just a moment. Hopefully you guys are all ready to have some fun. I know that I am. All right, let's see here. Where am I? Looks like I don't have anything popping up just yet. It always takes a little bit here. I think it's my laptop. I gotta get me a new one. Actually, I think it's just a little slow, so to catch up on the notifications or on the actual feed, it just takes a little bit. But anyway, folks, as this thing's getting set up over here, hopefully you guys are ready to have a good time. I want to let everybody know, please do not click on any links that you see in the comments section that basically are indicating that they're taking you to the live feed of this event. The event happens right here under Painting with Jesse on Facebook, and the event is free. So if you see a link where if you accidentally click on it, or you happen to just, hey, you say, hey, what is this? You go over there and they're trying to charge you. That's a scammer. They're trying to take your money and possibly, I don't know, maybe steal your identity, etc. So please do not click on any of those links. I want to make sure you guys stay right here with me. We're not going to get started till here we go, and I found it. Cool. Didn't take as long as it usually does. And let me lower my volume here. In a little bit, your comments will start to pop up on my feed, and I can answer questions and things like that. Especially at the beginning of our sessions, the comments that come through go really quickly, so I don't get to see all of them. So bear with me if I don't see one of your comments. And there we go. Amy Binkley, first one that I see on here. She says, I'm back and ready to paint. Fantastic. Let's see here. Cool. So anyway, that's looks like the last comment that popped in. I just want to remind everyone. Let's see. Chiquita Fountain. What's up, Chiquita? How are you? I'm good. Thank you. So anyway, once again, do not click on any of those links in the comments. It's basically scammers trying to get you guys to click on those links to take you to another website where they're trying to charge you for the event. And who knows what, right? For those of you that have been painting along with me for a little while now, you know that that's a common thing. And I warn you guys all the time, I hate to have to go through this. It's a pain in the butt, and it's actually really distracting when I start to see the comments from the spammers pop up in the comment section, but it happens, all right? Anyway, Gloria Marie, what's happening from New York? Welcome back. Jacqueline Langford, how are you? So throughout, folks, I do like to say hello to you guys in the comments. You guys can interact with each other in the comments. You guys can ask questions in the comments. If I see your comment, I'll address it. I don't get to see all the comments because they do go flying by so quickly. So please understand that if I don't reply to you, it's not because I ignored you, it's because I didn't see your comment. Especially as we get further down into the session, the comments start to slow down. As everybody's painting, the comments slow down, and there's more of a likelihood that I'll see your comment, okay? Tony Sanders, what's happening? Hi, Jan LaFave. First time, fantastic. So anyhow, I would like for you guys to let me know in the comment section where you guys are painting from, where you're joining from, what state are you in, what country are you in even. I know I have a lot of people from different parts of the world that are jumping on here, so that is fantastic. I'm in California. It is 4 p.m. my time, so I know some people are painting on the West Coast and 7 o'clock. And even later, and other people with different time zones that are on here, it's even later in the day. A couple of things just to remind you guys, this video will be available for you guys to come back to after the live feed is over, after the live session is over with. You can find the recorded version on the live tab on the main page. Okay, so in case you can't paint with me today or you can't finish with me today, you start painting along and you have to get going, the recorded session of this video will be in that live tab, as are all the other videos that I've done so far since we started this these virtual tutorials. Okay, so a lot of the stuff that you see behind me, you'll see paintings painting sessions on that under that live tutorial. Adele Taylor from Nova Scotia, how's it going? Jennifer McDonald from Nova Scotia also. Wow, back-to-back comments from people from Nova Scotia. Fantastic. So I want to remind you guys, or I want to give you guys a heads up for those of you that don't know of the stuff that's coming. First, I'm going to show you guys what we did yesterday. For those of you that don't know, we did this cool little snowman piece yesterday evening, 4 o'clock. The video for this, if you'd like to go paint along with this, is available under that live tab. I teach you guys everything from scratch. I teach you how to draw it, and we paint it, okay? A whole bunch of people, I think we're over 900 people that joined in to do this. Actually, more than that, because a bunch of people were painting in groups. So 900 plus devices or so, at the beginning anyway. But anyhow, that is available there. Next Saturday, December 12th, I've got this cool Grinch and Cindy Lou event. If you guys haven't seen that, please go over to the event tab on my page. You get all the information for this. Same thing, event is free. I will teach you guys how to draw this from scratch, but I'm also going to be making a stencil available for those of you that would like to use one. More details on that later. I will post on that information later on today, but you want to go to the event and click on the event if you're interested so you get all the notifications. Okay, that's next week. On Thursday next week, and I don't see the painting around me, so I'd have to go over to my next room and grab it. But next Thursday, 3 p.m. Pacific time, I've got a what's it called from Olaf painting kids tutorial. Olaf, teach you how to draw and paint Olaf. Okay, so those are the ones that are coming up right now. Plenty more to come the rest of the month, so just be on the lookout for that. Don't forget, if you guys haven't yet, please like the page so you get the notifications. In other words, like Painting with Jesse. You'll get all the notifications for the page every time I post something new. All right? So, Lynetta, what's happening? Lynetta Edison. Lynetta's back. Fantastic. Amanda Jane Hornet from Adelaide, South Australia. It's 10:30 a.m. over there. Wow, yep. Yeah, I've had a couple of people jump on here from Australia, so welcome. Welcome to all of you. Welcome to all the new people on here. I do a lot of really cool videos on here, cool art tutorials. So come back if you're new and you have a good time today. Come on back. Enjoy all the events that are coming. And once again, I just want to remind you guys, all the sessions that I've done so far since the beginning of or late March, early April are under that live tab on the main page. So if you guys would like to go back and look at those, you are absolutely welcome. Patty Jo Woodard, first time from New Mexico. Fantastic. Jane Meckleby Corbin from Indianapolis. Sorry. Thank you guys all for being here. What's happening, Adriana? Adriana Isles is back. All right, guys. So let's talk about the supply list. I'm going to repeat this right at the very beginning. So I'm going to be recreating this cool little piece right here. I'm going to be teaching you guys every single step of the process. Obviously, the colors that are on here are kind of apparent. I've got a light blue on here. I've got some white. I've got some darker blue. I've got some brown and some red and some green. All these colors are optional, except for maybe with the exception of the branches, which are brown and black, and then the green leaves and the red berries. Everything else, your ornament can be a different color. Your background can be a different color. It's your painting, so I want you guys to make your own choices with it, right? So I want you happy with it. I'm here to guide you along and helping you recreate this piece, but feel free to make changes to it as you'd like. For me, once again, the colors that I'll be using, I've got a little bit of green. I'm painting with acrylic paint, okay? I'll talk about that a little bit once we get started, but I've got acrylic paint green. I've got some red, okay? Again, the colors that are on the painting. I've got some blue, okay? I've got some white. I'll be mixing these two together for the background. And then, of course, there's a light blue on my ornament. Not sure what color you guys are going to be using for that. And then I've got a little bit of black and some brown, okay? So once again, brown, black, blue, white, green, and red. Those are my main colors that I'll be using. And then, of course, I mentioned in the details, the supply section, that optional, you can use some glitter paints. Towards the very end of the session, I do bust out my glitter paints and we go to town on it, adding a little detail that really makes everything pop. I'm sure you guys can probably see it there. The ornament is really obvious. It has some glitter on it. but I've got some green glitter on the leaves. I've got a little bit of red glitter on the berries. I've got some white or pearl glitter on the actual snow. So anyhow, that's at the very, very end. If you guys have glitter paints, cool. If not, don't worry about it. I'll show you the kind of glitter paints that I've got. You can always pick those up and add those to your painting later, okay? So Lori Ewan from Saskatchewan, Canada. Hi Lori, how are you? Welcome, welcome. And then, so I put my paints on, I use paper plates generally, or styrofoam plates sometimes if I don't have any paper plates. But I'll be using these as my palettes. In other words, I place my paint on here. This is where I pull my paint from, right? I don't use my bottles. I don't stick my brushes in the bottle. I put my paint on these paper plates. As far as my brushes, I've got an assortment of a few different brushes. I listed the sizes. These are all flat brushes. They're called flat because of their shape. And then with the exception of one little liner brush that I've got in here for a little detail work. You'll get a close-up of these once we get started. But I've got a few brushes in here floating around in a cup with water. If you're working with acrylic paint and you're new to acrylic painting, acrylic paint dries very quickly in between steps. As you're using your brushes, you want to stick your brushes back into a water cup so that the paint does not dry out on you, okay? So it's 1 minute after 4 o'clock over here, and I just want to really quickly, for those of you that just joined in, my name is Jesse. I am your host and painting instructor here on Painting with Jesse, and I want to thank all of you for being here with me today. We're gonna have some fun recreating this awesome little piece that you see in front of me. I'm going to be painting on a 16 by 20 inch canvas. Whatever you've got to paint with, whether it's construction paper, drawing paper, whatever it is that you've got, maybe you're gonna color yours with colored pencil, marker, etc. That is entirely up to you, okay? I'm working with acrylic paint, and I just want to go over those colors again. I know there's a lot of new people that just jumped in. Basic colors: white, blue, red, green, black, and brown. The colors are kind of obvious. You can see them there on the front. My brushes, you guys just saw the brushes. I've got a paper towel roll, very important. Messes will happen, so I keep these handy to clean spills and such up. Of course, there's glitter paints. I'm going to be drawing a little bit with pencil, so you want to have a pencil handy. You can also use chalk if you have some. If you're painting a light background, you're going to want a darker color of chalk. If you're doing a darker background, for those of you that might be doing that, you want a lighter piece of chalk. I'll talk about that when we get to the drawing piece of it. So as far as the ornament itself, I did mention in the discussion board that you can use something round like the bottom of a bottle to recreate it. You'll press this up against your canvas and trace around it when we get to that point. A cup, I might use a solo cup for mine. I think mine was probably about the size of a solo cup. It's been a while since I made this piece, and I don't remember how I made it. I don't think I did it freehand in this case, but we can do it freehand as well. Anyway, guys, a whole lot of talking, so let's get going. In just a little bit, I'm going to flip around, come to the front, bring my camera close, and we're going to get moving. Justina, Jocelyn Victorino, hi from Rhode Island, what's happening? Diane Rodriguez, what's happening? How are you? How are you? Again, guys, welcome. Thank you guys for being here. Let's get moving. Let's get going. We will be taking approximately 2.5 hours for this session. For those of you that are new, yes, painting takes some time. Okay? We can't rush through this. If we go too fast, I'm going to lose a bunch of you. We also can't go too slowly through it. Everybody paints at a different pace. So don't stress too much. Try to keep up. Okay, but we are looking at about approximately 2.5 hours of painting. Okay, if you happen to have to leave somewhere during the session, or maybe you popped in to see what's happening, you can't paint with me today, this video, the recorded version of this video, of this session today, will be available under the Painting with Jesse page under the live tab. If you were to go over, I'm about to move my camera here, folks, so avert your eyes if you get motion sickness. Here we go, just gonna scoot everything forward. So again, if you cannot paint with me today, or you start to paint with me today and then you have to take off for whatever reason, you'll be able to find the recorded version of today's session under that live tab, under Painting with Jesse. All my other videos are there. Okay, so if you're interested in the snowman we did yesterday, and the truck, the Christmas truck that we did last week on the Jingle Bells painting, go look for those. You'll find the same session that we went through, of course, but it'll be the live recording. All right? I'm going to be monitoring our progress, our video today on my laptop, which I have sitting here next to me. So as you guys ask questions, I can see them, but keep in mind that I'm not always looking at the comments, right? Most of the time I'm painting. In between steps, I'll come over and look at the comments section to answer questions. We go all the way through the process like that. You guys, I'll show you a step on my canvas. Whoop, just making little adjustments here. I'll show you a step on my canvas, and then I'll give you guys a little time to incorporate it on your end, okay? We'll go like that through the entire process. Usually in between steps, I'll give you 2 minutes or so, just depending on the step. In between those steps, I look at the comments, and I'll let you know when I'm looking at the comments, and I'll answer questions and such. Now, my feed is about, as is everybody else's, is about 30 seconds behind. So sometimes when I do something over here on my end, it's not always real time to what's happening on the video. It usually is not, okay? So, but anyway, all right. Enough talking. Let's do this. Let's talk about how we're going to approach this. First thing we're going to do is we're going to work on that background. Our light background in the center is going to slowly swirl out to a light blue. Okay, again, whatever colors you want to use for your background, it's absolutely up to you. Maybe you want to change up that background color to a light green or a yellow or an orange. Whatever you like is what you will do, okay? But I'm going to stick to the colors. For the most part, I'm going to stick to the colors that I've got here in front of me. So, I've got a little white right in the center. That's what I'm going to start with. Let me pour out some white onto my plate here. Usually I have my paint poured out, but I'm pouring it out right now. So a little bit of white, a little bit of blue. Now what I like to do is I like to have a spare plate. So just imagine for now that this is my palette. Well, it is my palette, but I had all the colors on here that I'm going to use on my painting. So white, blue, I'd have some green, maybe some brown, red, etc. I'll add those colors later. For now, this is what I've got. But I've got a second plate right here. This is going to be my mix plate. So I'm going to take my large brush. I'm going to start with my large 2-inch brush. I'll show you guys what that looks like. I promised I'd show you guys what these brushes look like up close. For those of you that are new, I know a bunch of you guys already have experience. But here's my water cup with my brushes in it. I got a bunch of old synthetic bristle brushes, but they're good, they're durable, they last a long time. But what I'm talking about is this brush right here. This is a 2-inch brush, flat, synthetic, looks like the type of brush you would paint your house with. Not quite as large, but you get the point. I use this big brush for the background. I've got a big canvas. Okay. The next brush that I've got is this 1-inch, same thing, synthetic bristle flat brush. I've got a little 1/2-inch flat brush. I've got a 1/4-inch flat brush. This guy right here, and then a little liner brush. This little guy's my liner brush. Okay, if you got something similar to that, similar to these, you're good to go. Don't stress out if you don't have the exact brushes that I've got. All right, guys, just got to make one little adjustment. I got to make sure I'm charging my phone as I do this, so we don't lose power halfway through. That would be no fun. Here we go. So I got my big brush here. I pulled it out of my water cup. It's got some water in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a little bit of that water, very little in it, and I just let that kind of fall onto my mix plate. So this is my spare plate. Now I'm going to take a little bit of white. Okay, I'm just going to kind of let that water, depending on the consistency of your paint, you don't have to do this. Okay, you don't have to add water to it, in other words. Okay, but I've added a little bit of water in here just to help the flow a bit, helps the paint flow just a touch. Now you notice on the original, the center is very, very light. It's a very light blue, it almost looks white. So I'm going to take a tiny bit of paint with my brush, ever so tiny, a tiny bit of blue paint. It's right there on the corner, same brush. I'm just going to mix that right into my paint to create a really, really light blue. Okay, once I've done that, I'm going to take my brush, I'm going to come right in here to the center, and I'm just going to start to, in a circular fashion, turn my brush. Okay, kind of make little concentric circles outward. Now this color is so light, you're probably not going to be able to see much of a difference, but I can see it. Okay, just making a nice, maybe, this is about a 5-inch circle, 6-7-inch circle in diameter is what we're talking about, but it doesn't really matter too much. There's no perfect, and everyone's painting is going to look a little bit different in the end. Okay, so work on that for just a little bit. Okay, while you guys do that, I'm going to give you guys a couple minutes to get there, especially at the beginning. We take it a little bit more slowly, and then we slowly start to pick up the pace. Okay, so work on that for a moment while I look at these comments. All right, we got about 416 devices painting with me right now, so that means, I don't know, who knows, there's lots of you painting in groups, but we got a pretty nice, large group, and that is amazing. Let me see if I can. So I'm looking at the comments right now, everyone. Christy Taylor said, that is so pretty. Thank you, Christy. Yeah, I'm also going to pull it up on my, Christmas music. Thank you, Gloria. Let me cue up a little Christmas music while you guys, it's got to be copyright free. Otherwise, Facebook will mute my video. We don't want that to happen. So bear with me while I cue up some nice little background music here. I won't play it too loudly. I want you guys to be able to hear my instruction. Let's see here. We're going to try a new channel. Supposedly this stuff is copyright free. I hope so. All right. There we go. What's up, Ben Thompson, joining in from Kingston, Ontario, Canada. All right, folks, if it's a little too loud, let me know so I'll turn it down. All right, here we go, folks. Next step. Yeah, I'm going to lower my volume just a little tiny bit here. I'll turn it up in between steps when I'm not talking too much. So, what I want you guys to notice is this. The color, so what we have here in the center is approximately what I've done in here. It gets a little bit darker the further out we go from the center. So what I'm going to do is the same mixture that I've got on my plate, this light, really light blue mixture that I've got. I've still got a little bit left here. All right, lowering it just a touch. So I'm going to take some more white from my palette here. I'm just going to bring some of that over onto my mix plate. Now I'm going to introduce a little bit more blue so that I can darken up this color a little bit more, right? So take my brush, dip it right into my blue paint. This time I'm grabbing a little bit more. Okay, you guys see that on the corner? Mix the two together. So now it's obviously a darker shade of blue, and I want to mix enough where I can cover quite a bit of the area around the canvas, or around the center there, what I've created here. So I'll start it a little further out, so I have a little gap. So a gap in between the original circle that I created. There's a little bit of a gap. So here it's all dry. So what I'm doing is I'm simply going to take this, and now I'm going to work my way inwards a little bit. Watch how I hold the brush. Okay, I'm holding it towards the back here, back part of the handle. Nothing too hard, nothing too special. This allows me to kind of keep a loose grip on the handle, and then I slowly work concentric circles inwards. Okay, how far in you go, it's kind of up to you. I want to leave a little area in the center that's light so that my ornament will stand out against that background. Okay, so once I've done that a little bit, then I'll just continue working my way outwards. Again, watch what I'm doing. Clues in everything that I do here. Sometimes I don't necessarily explain every single detail of every step that I do. I just took my brush, dipped it into my water cup. I introduced a little bit of water to this paint. It's going to help me use that little bit of paint that's in there, it thinned it out a little bit. I'll be able to use it to spread some of this paint around a little bit more. I try not to go too quickly at the beginning so you guys can all keep up. But like I was saying at the beginning, I think I was mentioning it today, everybody paints at a different pace. So I want to make sure you guys understand that. I do my best to make sure that everyone can keep up, but some of you like to go a lot more quickly, and some of you like to go a lot more slowly. Do your best to keep up. I can't go really quickly, so I hope you guys understand that I can't push. Otherwise, I'm going to lose a whole bunch of you. And not only that, but the painting won't come out as nice. It takes time to produce paintings because you do a lot of sometimes the paintings require layering, and that takes time to do. Okay, so you got to have a little bit of patience for this. All right, same thing. Next step, just going to take a little bit more white, bring it over. This time I'm going to add a little bit more blue, so it gets a little bit darker than that previous step. Okay, and if you guys notice, I'm not blending my colors in really perfectly so that there's all one solid color. I leave it a little swirly, so I've got some blue and some white and some shades in between, all kind of popping out through that mixture. Okay, so here I go. Come out here, leave a little gap. The gap isn't absolutely necessary. I just do it. It helps me blend a little bit. And then watch again as I'm just kind of twirling the brush around. There's nothing super specific about this. It's a little bit almost random. I just kind of let the brush move around in my hand as I'm working my way around the canvas. And I don't have a lot of paint on my brush. I purposefully did that so that this layer that I put on here is thin. You could have a thick layer if you'd like by grabbing gobs of paint. It'll just take a little longer for yours to dry, and that's okay too. But I'm taking a little bit of paint and I'm just feathering it all onto the canvas with my brush. Don't worry, folks. Here in just a little bit, I'm going to give you guys a few minutes, maybe 3-4 minutes to catch up to this step, okay? I know this is moving along rather quickly right now, but I don't want you guys stressing too much. So definitely going to give you guys a little time here in between steps. I'll start going through those comments. Please make sure you guys are saying hello to me. Let me know where you're painting from, who you're painting with, especially if you're painting with kiddos. Let me know let me know their names so I can say hello to them. I'm not looking at my canvas, at the feed just yet, so bear with me as I finish this up. So I could take a little bit more paint of the blue paint and darken up my mixture a touch to darken up the corners quite a bit. Again, folks, don't worry too much. Your painting is going to look a little different than mine. The person that you might be painting with, or whoever you're painting with, your paintings are all going to look a little bit different. A little bit differently. If you guys saw the post from yesterday, where I posted the post from this earlier today, I posted over 100 pictures that I received from the snowman event from yesterday. If you guys look, there's a lot of similarities, but there's also a lot of differences between each individual piece. Okay? All right. Looks like that's about it. So again, just want to stress that the idea, at least on mine it is, if you decide you're going to do do it in a different style, that's okay too. Maybe your painting is all one color. You don't have to do circles. You can do horizontal lines across or vertical lines across. Entirely up to you. But the idea on mine, if you're following along, trying to recreate something similar, we got a light section here in the middle. We slowly work our way outwards, adding more of whatever color you're using for the background, other than white, right? As you slowly introduce more of that color, it slowly gets a little darker towards the edges. How much variation there is in your color from the center to the outside is all entirely up to you, and there's no right or wrong with it. So do your best, make some choices on your own, see what you feel like will work for you, and go for it. Okay, so take a couple minutes here on this, in a little bit, I am going to paint my edges, the top, the right, and the left, okay? I won't be doing the bottom edge because I'll leave that for very last. Since I'm painting on an easel, if I do that bottom edge, my canvas will stick to my easel. It will glue onto that easel, all right? All right, so for now, my big brush, pretty much all I'm gonna be using it for today, I think. Goes back into my water cup to keep it from drying out, right? It will change the color of my water that's in there, but that's okay. All right, here we go, folks. Let me jump on and take a look at these comments. Let's see what's happening. So I'm looking at the comments right now. Let me turn up the music a little bit. Sarah Anderson says, first time painting with you from Mechanicville, New York, using a light green for the background. Thanks for doing this and happy holidays. Thank you, Sarah. Absolutely. Welcome, welcome to all you first timers and to all of you that have been painting with me for a little bit. Welcome back. Welcome if you're a new first timer. I really appreciate you guys being here. Like I said, feel free to ask questions in the comments. I'm more than happy to answer your questions, say hello to you guys, etc., etc. Okay, let me know what you guys think about my Christmas music. All right, Amanda Jane Hornet says my 7-year-old is watching but not painting. That's okay, no worries. Then Ashley Michelle says this is my 12-year-old daughter's. Whoops, I lost the. Let me see. I lost you there for a moment. Give me 1 second. Trying to go back up to that comment. It's my 12-year-old daughter's first time painting. Her name is Honesty. Thank you for doing this. Hi, Honesty. Welcome. Welcome to the page. Thank you for being here. All right. Hi, Faith. How's it going? Somebody asked, can you show us how to mix brown? Absolutely. When we get to that step, I will show you. And off the top of my head, it's been a minute or two since I've had to make the mixture, but I believe that's if you got red, blue, and yellow, that will get you to brown, okay? But when we get to that point, I'll show you guys how to do that if you don't have any brown. Kalpana Durai, hello from Melbourne. What's happening over there in Melbourne? I believe you guys, some of you earlier said it was morning in South Australia, so good morning to you if that is the case. Elena Seldy says, first time just found you. Thank you for sharing your talent. My pleasure, Elena. Elena, thank you for being here. So somebody asked in the comments, Ruth Salmon Gardner says, what type of paint do you use? So I generally use acrylic paint. I do also paint using oil paints, but for my tutorials, I use acrylic paint. A very cheap but nice brand to use. A good bang for your buck is this Artist Loft brand from Michaels. You can buy these in these liter bottles. They last a really long time. If you get them with, I think normally they're like $9.99. If you get them with a coupon, you can get them for about, it just depends on the coupon, but you can get them for up to like 40 or 50% off even. They last a really long time. I use other acrylic paints. I can show you guys some of those. I'll show you some of that in a little bit, but I do use other types of acrylic paints as well. Nothing too expensive for these type of paintings. These type of paints are good enough, but there are definitely different quality of paints out there. The better the quality, the more expensive they typically are. But that Artist Loft is pretty good. Okay. So all right, guys, about another minute. We're moving on. Asa Muhammad Khan says, thank you so much for sharing your work with us. And then I lost the rest of the comments, so I think that was it. Donna Golecki, first time watching from Richmond. What is that? BC. Sorry, I'm trying to remember BC. Sorry, but she's in Canada, folks. Welcome, welcome. Amanda Jane joined in late, but she's here now. Fantastic. All right, folks. So let me lower my volume a little bit. So let's go ahead and paint our edges. Again, if you're using a canvas, it's optional. You don't have to do this. But if you are painting on a canvas, one thing that I like to do is I like to paint the edges, as I mentioned earlier. And typically what I'll do is I'll match the color that's on the front, I'll match it to the edges. Some people like to leave them white, a clean white, and that works too. But I just like to, paint them. It just, for me, the aesthetic is a little nicer. So I'm just mixing a little bit of this light blue that I mixed. And it doesn't have to be exactly the same as what's on the front. As long as it's close enough, we're good. So I'm mixing some of this light blue. And don't worry, folks, if you guys are like, oh man, this guy takes a long time. Remember, there is a pacing to this. I want to be able to make sure that everybody is able to keep up, or most of you can keep up. But we'll start to speed things up a little bit here in a moment. The most important thing is this background, because once we have the background, we can start moving forward with the rest of this. Here we go. Just painting my top edge. I'm going to go ahead and do my left edge here. And then, whoop, I want to do my right edge, left edge. All right. And once again, I won't be doing that bottom edge till the very, very end of the session, after I sand the piece. Okay? So, let's talk about these branches, because that's what's next. Okay, we're going to start with a little bit of brown and a little bit of, even a little bit of black. We'll see right now in a moment. I'll make a decision there as to which color I'm going to start with. But it's probably going to be a mixture of the two. But let me describe how this is going to happen. A couple of things, a couple of tips. What you're going to do when you draw those in, and I'm going to use paint. You can use pencil to lightly draw those in, so that in case you don't like them, you can actually erase, you can actually remove it, right? I want to stress though, but if your background is wet, you want to wait a little tiny bit before you actually put in any pencil marks on your canvas. Okay, it's just a lot. It's going to make it a little messy if you have to erase something. You try to erase with the wet paint behind it. You're going to possibly mess up your background, and you just want to try to avoid it. You can fix most anything, but you can mess up the background if you're not careful. And it's just a pain, right, to have to fix something. Anyway, the main tip that I want to give you is, and you'll see me do it here. I want to describe it first though. You want to make skinny lines to start. At the start, even though these branches, like I'll have a little tiny line in the or approximately the middle of where these branches are. And then as I go, I'll start to add a little bit of thickness to them. They're narrower at the front, on the left side, if your branches are going in this direction, like mine are, and they get a little bit thicker the further back they get, right? The closer they get to the main tree, the thicker they are. It's kind of a natural, that's how branches are. That's how branches work. But what I do first is I create a really skinny line. Again, I'm going to demonstrate it here in a moment. We're going to start with this one down here. And then I slowly increase the thickness. The reason why I start really skinny is because if I start too thick and I don't like, let's say I decide, oh, that's too big of a branch. It's too thick of a branch. Then that's a lot harder to fix. Okay? That being said, you're going to watch me do it here in a moment. The other thing I want you guys to look out for, because everybody's branches are going to be a little different, is you're going to want to leave a space in the center for your ornament. So your branches are going to be working around that. Imagine your ornament where it's going to be. If you're going to make a really large ornament, then you want to kind of adjust for that. Okay, we're not going to place the ornament first, although we could do that. You know what? Just to be safe, I'm going to make a pivot here. To be safe, because I want you guys to leave enough room in here. Let's start with the ornament first. Just like that, I threw a little curveball at you guys. Just because I just realized, you know what, if we start with the branches first, some of you are going to undoubtedly get them a little too close to the center, and you're going to squish your area for your ornament. So let's trace in the shape of the ornament, okay? I'm going to use, and sorry about the change on that, folks, but it just all of a sudden clicked that would make some more sense. So I've got this solo cup, and my ornament here on the original is a little bit bigger than this. That's okay, but I'm going to use this. I'm just going to come over here like this, somewhere in the center here. in the middle of all this light. I'm just going to do a nice little light trace in pencil. Okay, so give me 1 sec. And don't worry, folks. Again, I'm going to give you a little time there to catch up and, you know, implement this on your end. But watch me do it first. Somewhere, and it doesn't have to be perfectly in the center in this circle. It can be slightly to the right, slightly to the left. I'll leave that up to you. But I'm just going to do this somewhere close to the middle, really lightly. I want to barely be able to see my pencil lines. The reason for that is that if I don't like the placement, I can go in there and remove them. Okay? Now I can barely see my pencil lines in there. But let me darken it up a little bit so you guys can see it. This is ideally how I would leave it though. Because if I wanted to change it up, I could. Makes it easy to erase when we do light lines. If you're working in pairs, or sorry, if you're painting with someone, maybe you can have them hold whatever you're going to use as a template, whether it's a jar lid, a plate, a bottle, etc., 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 depending on the size of canvas you're using. And again, I just want to emphasize, mine's a 16 by 20. Depending on the size of canvas you're using, you may want to adjust the size for that size canvas, right? So there's my little ornament right in there. Okay, so work on that for just a bit. Yeah, that's actually Ariel Betancourt. What's happening? So yeah, I think last year I might have used the bottom of, no, actually no, that wasn't it. I think maybe when I did this originally last year, I did it, I don't remember what I used, no big deal. But even this, the bottle here is a little smaller. But again, it's not really that important. I like this size here. That's okay too. That's going to work out just fine. I'll be able to work my branches around it. So, okay. So again, put your little ornament there in the middle. I'll give you guys a couple of minutes on that, and then we're moving on to those branches, okay? Megan Melissa says, will this be recorded for those who missed the beginning? Absolutely. As soon as the live session is over, you're going to be able to find this under the live tab on the main Painting with Jesse page, okay? So just be aware that it will be right there, as well as are all the previous videos that I've done on this page. Just want to remind you guys, for those of you that missed it, last night we had a pretty gigantic event where I showed everyone how to draw and paint this. It was all freehand. Okay, the video's up for any of you that would like to go back and look at it. If you go over again to the live tab on the main Painting with Jesse page, you're going to find this. What's cool about the recorded versions of these videos is that you can go forward and backward and pause, etc. as you'd like. This cool little Grinch painting, the Grinch and Cindy Lou, I'm going to do this next Saturday, 12 p.m. Pacific time, whatever time you're in. You're going to want to check the equivalent, right? Just like today. So 12 p.m. next Saturday, I'm teaching you how to draw, and then we paint this. I am going to be making a template or stencil that you'll be downloading, or I'll be emailing to you. You'll have to print it out, cut it out, and have it ready for the event. But I will be making one available of the Grinch's face, maybe the body. We'll see. I don't know yet. Probably more than likely just the face, and then maybe the little ornament. Okay, but I'll have the information on that. The event is already up. I will update the information on that probably tonight or early tomorrow morning. You'll see that there. In other words, I'll have the information on how to get access to that template. It'll be free. I'm not looking to charge anybody for it, but I'll have the instructions on there. Okay, so that's next Saturday. All right, here we go. Next step. So we have our little ornament in place. Okay, we have our little ornament right in there. Again, we're going to work on those branches, and I'm going to be using brown as a base. I'll add darker black brown mixture to the bottom of it later, and then maybe a really light brown on the top to give it a lighter area on top and a darker area on the bottom, but we'll see. Okay, and I'll show you guys how to mix brown here in just a moment, but I'm going to go ahead and start on the branches first. I want you guys to see this. Okay, I take my plate here, my palette, I'm going to add some brown to it. I'm only going to be using brown on this step. I don't need to mix anything with this color. I don't need to, I might add a little bit of water to it. I might do that. But I've got my brown right in here. I'm going to be using a small brush. This is my little 1/4-inch brush. Okay? I'm going to take some brown. I'm going to bring that over to my mix plate. Right in here. I'm going to take my brush, dip it into my water cup so I can grab some water out of there. I'm going to bring this water over and mix it with a little bit of my paint. This water trick, I call it a little trick because it really helps out. It helps that paint flow. The only thing you want to avoid when you add water to your mixture, unless you're purposefully looking for runny paint, you want to avoid drips. You want to make sure you hold up your plate or your palette sideways, and if you see any paint running down the plate, you've got too much water in it. You need to introduce more paint to it. Okay? So watch what I do here. So I've got my brush. I press it down into the paint as I grab paint. What that does is it makes my little brush tip really skinny. And again, this is a 1/4-inch flat brush that I'm using here. So we're going to start down here. Now you could do this with a liner brush as well, a little skinny brush. If you feel more comfortable with one of these guys, use this for this step. But watch what I do first. So we're looking at this this branch down here. So I've got my ornament right in here. That branch, if you're making something similar to me, is about right here, is where it stops, where the tip of it stops. I'm just going to mark off a little tiny line right there. Okay? So again, this is approximately this. How far down from my ornament, how high up, how close, etc. isn't super important. Just give it a little space, put a little line in. Okay? You're giving yourself a mark, a little mark, where you know that branch is going to start from or end. Okay? Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here a little bit lower, so the branch is going to drop a little bit. Just going to, same thing, mark a little area over there. Now I've got two things. I've got the end point and the starting point. So I'm going to work my way backwards, or I can work in this direction as well. Either way, it doesn't really matter too much. Slightly kind of curving my branch as I move over. I'm keeping my line really skinny though. Here we go. Backwards. Branches are crooked, right? They're not perfectly straight. Okay? There we go. Nice and easy. Nothing to it. Okay? So work on that for a moment. Your branch is going to be a little different than mine. It doesn't have to have the same curves, etc. It's a branch. There's different type of branches, right? They all look a little different. So get something like that, nice and skinny though. That's the point. Nice and skinny, all right? Debbie Durr Monica says, so cool, thank you for this event. Oh, I gotta show you guys how to mix brown. So if you've got red, blue, and yellow, let me grab sure, I'll do it right here. Grab a little bit of red. Got some blue already on there. Let me grab some yellow. Okay, got a little bit of red, blue, and yellow. So I'm going to do this on my mixed plate. So I'm going to introduce a little bit of yellow to my plate right over here. A little bit of red, just putting the colors together. A little bit of blue. I mix all three together, and that's going to give me a brown. Now you could tone it in either direction. You can add more red to it, make it a little bit more of a red-brown. Add more blue, changes it to a little bit more of a green or yellow. It just depends on which direction you want your brown to go. So again, red, blue, yellow mixed together will give you brown, okay? So there's that. Just like that. Okay, guys. So my branch, okay, I'm going to grab a little bit more brown. I'm going to go ahead and give it a little bit of thickness. So down to the base, it's a little thicker, and I slowly am going to add a little bit at a time. Okay, we add a little bit of thickness to our branch. It starts to get skinnier as it gets closer to the point, right? So just kind of watch for that. Flatten your brush against your plate so it makes the point really nice and skinny. The tip really nice and skinny. Okay, just keeping in mind broader at the base. Okay, add a little bit of water to your mix if you're having any hard time getting that paint to spread onto the canvas. Oftentimes, as the paint sits there, it starts to thicken up a little bit, starts to dry out a little. So take some water. I switched over to, I have a little 1/8 inch brush. I switched over when I was mixing the color, the brown together, demonstrating the red, blue, yellow mixture that creates brown. I switched brushes really quickly. So I'm gonna stick to this one. Little 1/8 inch flat brush. Now I'm not using the technical numbers for these guys. What I want you guys to do is just have brushes that are similar in size to these. Okay? All right. So thicker at the base, skinnier over towards the point. I'm going to go ahead and right over here somewhere, little skinny line. Remember skinny, keep everything skinny. Have a little branch that comes out, hangs down like that. And then I just come in, starting at the base, work my way back towards the point, skinnier at the base, pointy at the end. As long as you keep that sequence, thick at the base, skinnier at the point, you're good to go. Okay, so maybe we've got another one right over here. Okay, once you get the hang of it, you can work a little more quickly, but take your time at the beginning. Okay. All right. Next one. Right over here maybe, just like on the original. Somewhere back here. Skinny, skinny. Comes forward. Maybe got a little branch that does that. Maybe this one, we're getting fancy over here. Okay. Looks like a little lobster claw or something. Okay. And again, thicker at the base. A little bit of thickness at a time. Especially if you're newer to making branches, work more slowly. If you got a little experience with these guys, then work a little more quickly, up to you. Okay? All right. And I'll take a little step back. I like to take a step back from time to time. I'm going to have leaves here, right? Imagine you're going to have some leaves hanging out, little berries coming off of your branch. And we're moving on to the next one. I'm going to go ahead and make this really long one in just a little bit. I'll give you a couple minutes on that. Okay, so here we go. Taking a look at the comments. Ezrina Bradley, my 12-year-old, thought it was cool but had something else to do. I think I'm going to stop watching so she and I can watch together later this weekend. No worries, Ezrina. Fantastic. Yeah, sometimes the pace, these more complicated paintings, some kids, have a little bit of a harder time painting along because it's a much slower process. There's a lot more going on. My kids' paintings are specifically a little simpler, and so we work a little faster on those. Okay? But yeah, definitely, I understand. If for whatever reason you have to take off, the recorded version will be here, and you can jump ahead, move through the chatter, etc., okay? Amari, Amy Binkley says, my 8-year-old daughter is joining us today. Her name is Amari. She can't wait to show you her art. Fantastic. And yep, folks, absolutely, don't forget, for those of you that have painted with me before, you already know I ask you guys to send me pictures of your masterpieces. For those of you that are new, you can send me, and I prefer you guys send me your pictures through Messenger on Painting with Jesse. It's just a lot easier to keep track of them. So, Painting with Jesse, Messenger, send me pictures of your paintings. I'd love to see if you guys, I understand some people don't want to do it. That's okay. But if you can, send me pictures of yourselves, especially if you're in a group holding your painting, so I can put a face to the name. And then I do like to share those with everyone. All right, next branch. So this branch, this long one, is going to end up somewhere over here. And of course, it curves up and over our branch, comes out, and ends up somewhere over here. Okay, somewhere in here. So I'm going to do the same thing that I did with this one. Maybe I don't go as far out as I would like for it to be, so that I can kind of, if I don't want to go if I end up going too far out, that's a little hard to fix. So I'm just going to kind of take a little Yeah, I think so. I think that's good. And now I can extend it out a little bit more. So what I was trying to say is I decided not to go out as far out as I originally wanted to go, in case it was too far and I took a step back and said, oh, wait a minute, that's too far. But this is good. I kind of like this. Okay, so a little bit like that. Might have to change, switch brushes on this one. This one's a little bit wonky. The bristles are spreading out a bit. So, okay, so this branch, here's what I'm going to do on this one. I'm going to do this in segments. So this branch is going to come up here somewhere around right in here. Then it's going to curve out, change angles a little bit, come back over this way. Okay. This is the branch, of course, that my ornament is going to be attached to. So I want to leave a little bit of a gap in between there. And then it's going to come over this way. It's going to end up over here. Okay, that's another way to kind of connect. You're making these little connect dashes that you're going to connect together. But it gives you a nice little visual of how your branch is going to travel back from one point to the other. You know what? Let me switch brushes. This one's seen its days, I think. All right. Here we go. Working our way backwards. Up, skinny, remember, nice and skinny. Goes up, back, drops down, just like that. Okay, now what I'll do is it doesn't matter which direction I start with. I can go from the right to the left or left to back, but the main thing is that I add thickness a little bit at a time, and that it gets narrower the further out the branch extends. Again, I'm using the really skinny part, or the long part of the brush like this to go across. So it's going across my canvas like that. Helps keep my line nice and skinny. Okay. Take a little step back, look at your handiwork, move on. We're going to add a little branch right here. Okay, maybe one coming out somewhere over here. Let's see. Maybe we got a little tiny one right here. And something like that over there. Okay. So work on that. When you're first layering acrylic paint, it can be, depending on the type of acrylic paint you've got, it can be a little transparent. Okay, so don't worry about that too much right now. Put your branch down. We are going to come back and layer over this once this first layer is dry, and this one down here is almost complete. Actually, it is pretty dry. If I wanted to, and I'm not going to do this just yet, I would go back over this with brown, and it gets a lot darker. Okay, but don't worry about that step for now. Just get your shape of your branch in and move on. Okay, so work on that for about a minute or so, and here we go. Sandy Moss says, I'm 59 and just discovered my new hobby. Loving it. Fantastic, Sandy. Glad to hear that. Let's see. So I'm looking at the comments. Let's go up a little bit. Go back a little bit. Let's see. Maritza Buenaver Smith, 57, and I love it. Awesome, Maritza. Hong Ho, we love this. I love you guys being here with me. Fantastic. Let's see. What else, folks? Olivia Pierce Aidinger says, Olivia from Chicago, my 11-year-old daughter Abigail says this is everything. Mom, it's so relaxing. I like his work. Thank you, Olivia and Abigail. Fantastic. Thank you for being here. Really do appreciate it. Glad you're enjoying the page. All right. Let's see. What else we got? Penny Colt says, loving this painting. Awesome, Penny. Irina Shevchuk says, my son Andrew saying hi and that you are doing a great job. He is 7 years old and likes how you explain. Awesome, Andrew. Good to hear. All right, guys, here we go. Next one. Next branch. So right up here we got one. We got this one, right? So if you can imagine, this one goes off the canvas, right? Goes up, maybe curves back, and you see it over in that corner. It comes down. So that comes across like this, comes over, and drops down somewhere in here. So maybe somewhere over here is where I'm going to make my mark. This will be either this one. I think it'll be this one, this top branch right here. That's that. Okay? No, you know what? Let me change that. I'm going to go ahead and make this one at the bottom. Okay, it's a little closer to this branch, so I'm going to make that decision right now. Sometimes we have to do that. We got to pivot. All good. So this branch is going to come up to this edge right in here. Make a little mark. Okay, and then just to kind of complete the branch, we're going to say over here, and of course that comes up to that corner there, so we just might as well close that gap right there. We'll take this one and bring that all over just like that. So what do we do next? Well, add a little bit of thickness, starting with this side over here. Nice and easy. So for those of you that are going to send me your pictures, if you have any problems sending them through Messenger, I think you can simply attach the picture to Messenger and send it over. But if you have problems, you can also come back to the recorded version of this live session. So after it's over, it's going to be available again in the live tab. Just go over to the video, and you can still make comments. So you can drop your picture in the comments. I would prefer Messenger. Again, as long as it's all in one place, it's easy for me to keep track of them. That way, I don't miss anybody's picture. But undoubtedly, some of you are going to message them to me. Some of you might even post them directly to the page, etc., etc. I'll do my best to try to make sure that I get them all, and then I'll share them in one big post, either sometime tonight or sometime tomorrow. And if you happen to not paint today or not finish today, you can always go in there. When you see that post, you can add your picture there in the comments section. Okay, so when you see my post saying, "Hey guys, these are all the paintings that everybody did with me when we did the holly tree. Check it out." And then, you know, I'll say, if you don't see your picture in here or you haven't sent it to me, share it with us, put it in the comments. Okay? But all right. So this one right here has one little branch that comes down and goes like this, hanging out somewhere right there. Okay? Skinny at the base. Sorry, thick at the base, skinny towards the point. All right. All right, guys. We're moving along here. Fantastic. We're going to pick things up just a little bit here in a moment. We're going to actually do some leaves here in just a bit. We're going to do some leaves. As all this is drying, the branches are drying, we're going to do some leaves. And then we're going to come back to the branches and add some detail. We're going to go back to the leaves after that. Then we're going to start working on our ornament. And then we go back and kind of fix things on the leaves and the branches. And then we come back to the ornament and add some nice detail there. All right. How are you guys liking the pace? Amy Binkley, if you message him first on Messenger, you can attach the picture after. Oh, awesome, Amy. Thank you. Thank you for that tip. So Amy says if you message him first on Messenger, you can attach the picture after. Ah, fantastic. Good tip. All right, awesome. Good pace. Okay, good. I'm seeing a couple of you guys saying good pace. And again, folks, everyone paints at a different pace. Even if you're a seasoned veteran, you might have a really slow pace. You take your time. It's really relaxing. Some of you are going to paint a lot more quickly. So please don't feel like, oh my gosh, I'm falling behind. I'm bad at this. Or wow, this guy's so slow. Why is he taking forever? It's just that everybody does have a different pace. I sometimes will get people sending me, in the comment section, hey, can you speed it up or can you slow it down? It's just, I think I've found a pace that's kind of good for most people, right? But do your best. Do your best. There's nothing on here except for the base layers of paint, which is what we're working on right now, that you can't always, if you fall too far behind, you can't always go back and fix. Except for the background, which is very important. You get that down first. Once you've got the background, now you can start working on the layers that we're going to be applying. But this is the first layer to the branches. Okay, we're about to do the first layer on some leaves. Those are all the more important pieces of that. After that, you can jump around and fix things. You can jump backwards, you can jump forwards, all that good stuff. But all right, we're going to draw some leaves. Okay, little skinny brush, my little liner brush. Okay, little tiny pointy thing right here. Okay, I'm going to make some holly leaves here. I'm going to take some green. Let me pour some out on my plate. Also, guys, for those of you that are able to, I have a virtual tip jar. The virtual tip jar information is in the description to this video. I've got a Venmo, I've got a PayPal, and I've got Zelle. Okay, for those of you that are able to, it's not necessary, but it really helps support the page. It allows me to continue doing these events. That information is there for those of you that are able and willing to go and contribute to the page. The information is right here. I don't know if you can take a screenshot if you're watching this on a tablet or on a phone, etc. Whoops, looks like I'm a little close to the camera, but here's my virtual tip jar information. I've got a Venmo, Jesse Mendeville at Painting with Jesse, all one word, at Painting with Jesse. PayPal, paypal.me/Painting with Jesse, especially on PayPal, very important, one word. Okay, and then I've got a Zelle, and Zelle is just my phone number, so 951-217-2237. If you choose Venmo to send out, a tip, it might ask you to verify the last four numbers of my phone number, and they're right there. And then if you do use PayPal or Venmo, you'll see my picture under my account. You'll see my picture holding up a canvas or something like that, or you'll see me painting, holding up a canvas or next to a canvas, and that's how you'll know it's me. Okay, again, for those of you that can, really do appreciate it. But all right, got a little bit of green on my plate here. I'm going to grab some of this and I'm going to bring it over to my mix plate. Okay, don't need a lot for this step. We're going to be drawing some leaves first. So you can do this with pencil if you'd like. I'm going to do this with my paint. I'm dipping my brush into my water cup, and then I bring some of that water into my paint, mixing it really well. Anytime you're doing intricate work, small detail work, it's always a good idea, or usually a good idea, to introduce a little bit of water, mix a little bit of water into your paint. This helps that paint flow, makes it easier to draw with, it's easier to make skinny lines with as well. Again, know what you want to do is you don't want to oversaturate your paint with water. That'll make it drippy, and you don't want that. Okay, here we go. First branch, for first leaf, I should say, over here. Okay. Now you can connect the branch right up, or the leaf, sorry, right up to the branch, like this, and maybe have a little stem if you want, like a little black stem, and I'll show you that later. For now, that's where I'm starting. I'm going to start with a little triangle, or at least the top of a triangle. Goes like that. Okay. Now the little leaves are jagged. We did a couple of these on our snowman yesterday. For those of you that joined in with that, a couple of these little on the holly leaves on the snowman's hat. So I'm just going to come out. Later on, I can outline these in black or dark green, just making these little triangles, a little jagged edge, going downwards into the point. Okay. There's our first one. It can be bigger than that, like it is on the original. I don't want to come over and block, so I'm doing it over from the side. Makes it a little tricky, but whatever size you decide your leaf to be, there's nothing wrong with that, okay? Then just to kind of give you a little bit of a visual, I can come in here with the thin little line down the center. That's optional, okay? Once I've done that, I can kind of go around drawing my leaves first. Once I've drawn a few of them, I'll come in there and fill them in. But to show you guys, I can use my little liner brush to fill the leaves in, but that'll take too long, so I'm switching over to a larger brush. This is the first layer of paint, so again, don't worry about it being super even or solid. It might be a little transparent. Just fill them in. You can use this kind of feather motion. You want to paint in the direction of your leaf. So if my leaf goes this way, I'm using my brush and feathering my paint in that direction. That helps it starts to form the shape on that leaf. Okay, even though we're going to be adding some more layers of paint over the top, it's going to shape the color of my leaf. It's going to shape the direction of the leaf. It's going to give it a little bit of 3D, a little bit of a 3D effect, a little bit of dimension. Now, if you guys notice on the original, I've got some darker leaves. If you guys want some of those, you'll simply take a little bit of black, little bit. You can also use a little bit of blue if you want. You don't use much of these darker colors to mix in with your leaf. I'm taking a little tiny touch of the black. I'll mix it in with the paint to make a darker base. And then I'll come in here and I'll use this as my base. Again, this is only the first layer, so we're going to be doing more layering over this later. So get your color in. Doesn't matter if it's blotchy or discolored like mine is. It's perfect like that because, again, it's the very first layer. So that's what we'll be doing, but what we're going to do first is we're going to draw a bunch of leaves first. So right over here, that little leaf that kind of hangs out right there, this is going to be a stem, and I'm going to make that in brown later, but for now, or black, just going to come through. I'm going to draw there's my triangle. From there, I start to make these little, whoops, I'll grab more paint. Okay, and again, I won't bother filling that in just yet. I'm going to move on and draw my next one. It's going to be right here. Okay, maybe this one's a little smaller. Okay. Okay, work on that for a moment. Let's take a look at the comments. You might want to practice on a paper plate or a piece of paper, etc. You might want to practice on that first before you start doing this on your canvas, okay? Gomez Amanda, first time here from Trinidad and Tobago. Sadly, we don't have snow here in the Caribbean, but I'm sure looking forward to painting it. This is really awesome. Awesome. Amanda, thank you and welcome all the way from Trinidad and Tobago. Fantastic. And I saw a question here. Let me see if I can get back to it. So somebody says, Kathy McDonald McCroskey, this is a fantastic question. Why aren't you painting at the top first so your hand isn't in wet paint? You absolutely can. So because everything is spread out enough where even if I start at the bottom, it's not that big of a deal, right? It's just, you can start anywhere. On this type of painting, you can pretty much start anywhere because the leaves are so far apart. So what she's mentioning is this: why not do the top leaves first? I'm assuming she's talking about the leaves, and then work your way down. I suppose she might even be talking about the branches. So you're not working in wet paint. So let's say, for example, that my entire canvas had a bunch of branches and leaves, etc., and I work on the bottom. So this is all dense, and I'm up here trying to work these. My hand might go onto wet paint, right? It might smear the paint that's underneath it. But all of this is so far apart, you're not going to be doing a whole lot, except for maybe up in here, where you're going to be getting into wet paint. But yes, that is most definitely a process, I think a logical process, especially when you're working with a lot of wet areas. If you again, have lots of paint on your canvas, absolutely, it makes more sense to start from the top and you work your way down. In this case, not that important. If I touch this right here, this is already not completely dry, but it's pretty close. Okay, so again, these leaves down here aren't really going to interfere. My hand isn't really going to do a whole lot. If I need to put my hand onto the canvas, like my pinky to stabilize my hand, I can do it right in here. Okay, but yes, that is an excellent observation, and that is the safer way of doing it in a general sense. Okay, but great question. Let's see, Penny Colt says, I will be painting this tomorrow morning since I missed the very beginning, but cannot wait to do this one. Awesome, Penny. Don't forget to send your pictures All right, moving on to the next one, next leaf. So, gonna do one right up in here. Okay, so I've got a little leaf right here, and watch my hand, folks. What I'll do, especially when I'm drawing, to stabilize my hand, I'll use my pinky. Okay, I'll just kind of come over here, and something that I didn't mention earlier. I typically will mention it anytime I'm drawing, but I use my finger here to stabilize my hand. I could also, if I want to get really close, I could do this. For this, it's more comfortable and easier if I do it like this. You know, I come over here like this, and got a little branch coming off the top, or a little leaf coming off right there. And here we go. Point, point, point. Kind of getting close to my ornament. Don't want to get too close. My way back. There we go. Okay. Whoops. What happened to my music? I think that was the end of that. Oh, there we go. Pause it for some reason. All right. Little commercial. You're very welcome, Kelly. Great question. Ask folks, ask your questions. I love it because it allows me to explain things that maybe I take for granted, right? So please, if you guys have, there's no dumb question. There's no terrible question. Well, maybe. Maybe there are some. But do not be shy. You know, this is a fun, relaxed atmosphere, and I want you guys to feel comfortable, especially if you're newer to this, or if you've been painting a while and you have a particular way of doing stuff. Absolutely ask your questions. I'm more than happy to answer them. All right. I'm showing you the way that I paint. There are different ways, different processes and stuff. There's no one perfect way of doing stuff. You can take different approaches to painting, to art, as most of you can imagine. But yes, please do ask me questions. If you guys see something and you're wondering, you know, hey, what kind of brush is that? Why are you holding the brush like that? Et cetera, please ask those. For me, it is one of those things that, you know, because I've been doing it a while, I might take it for granted. I do my best to try to explain everything, but there's a lot of information. We could sit here explaining things, you know, in really, really intricate detail. But yeah, ask your questions. Here we go. Next one. We're going to pick things up a little bit now. Now you got the hang of these holly leaves. I'm going to add a couple right here. So here's another thing that I can do. I can simply start right down the middle. Okay, make a little line like that. Kind of create the shape for the leaf that I'm about to create. And then I can start with a point here at the front. And then I can work my way backwards. Okay, like this. Working my way back towards the branch. And I apologize, I know my hand might be getting in the way. Okay, work my way back, all the way down to the branch. Okay, and there could be a little stem right here that we'll add later that connects it to the branch, okay? So we'll do the bottom now, bottom one. And again, folks, we're picking things up a little bit. Okay, this one's going to stick out. Okay, and again, I can kind of just showing you a different way to do these. So starting from the base, we're starting from the front. Work my way backwards. And I can do one side first. I'm over to the left of the canvas, so my angle's a little bit awkward. I apologize. If actually, I mean, it's looking okay. I'm not, but I don't want to block you guys. My hand gets in the way, etc. I'm trying to avoid that. Okay, so here we go. Next one. Okay, we're going to add one right up in here. Maybe behind this little branch right there. It's a little small guy. Okay, point, work my way back. I hold my brush nice and loose for this. It is a little closer to the tip, not back here like I was doing earlier when I was making my branches. This requires a little bit more control, more precision. Another little tip here, you can take your brush. As you grab paint, you dip the brush into the paint, you spin and you pull away, and that makes the tip of your bristles really skinny, and it allows you to make skinnier lines. Okay. Okay, there we go. You can have more leaves than me, right? It's your painting, like I mentioned earlier. You can have a whole bunch of leaves. Your branches could be a little bit more bare. You have less branches, and holly leaves tend to be pretty symmetrical, right? So maybe something that I haven't mentioned yet is, for the most part, one side. What you do to one side, you kind of match it on the other. Okay, there we go. All right, folks, work on that for a little bit. Linda Phillips says you can always turn your canvas as you go. Absolutely, you sure can. Or maybe you're talking because I'm over to the left. Yep, sure could. What she means is, as I'm working through this, I can turn it so that I get a better angle at the leaves and I'm not reaching over so far. Absolutely. Let's see, what else we got? Going back down into those comments. Let's see here. Whoops, I think I went a little too far back. Jamie Swanton says, ho, ho, go from Toronto. I know if Jamie was trying to say ho, 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 but it came out as ho, ho, go from Toronto. Works. Hazel Tilgman says, too slow. Okay, again, everybody paints a little different pace. Okay, I'm running out of pre-mixed brown. What colors did you say to mix to make brown? Red, brown, red, blue, and yellow. All right, Ariel, no worries. Thank you so much. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Ariel Betancourt, friend of mine that's painted with me often, was on here playing administrator, trying to help out. Let's see. Kathy Yeagle says, I never painted on canvas until I painted with you. This is my third session. I do paint rocks. Fantastic, Kathy. Love it. All right, let me get to the bottom here. All the way to scroll back down to the bottom. I know I missed a bunch of... Gomez Amanda, as a beginner who's worried about branch placement and wanting to make sure I leave enough room for the ornament, can I draw the branches or the ornament in with like chalk or with pencil first before I just put brush to canvas? Absolutely. Yes. Chalk, pencil. Absolutely. You can do either one of those. Lightly. Chalk is really easy to erase. And pencil, as long as you do it really lightly, it'll also come off. But absolutely. All right, here we go. Moving on to the next one. Over here. Okay, this one here is a really long one. So go ahead and work your branches in, folks. I'm just going to go ahead and complete mine, and then we're going to start coloring them in. I'm going to pick up the pace just a little tiny bit. Okay, right over here. Got one right up here. This one here, for those of you that are going to include that, there's a branch over here that you can't see. It has a little leaf attached to it right here. There we go. Beautiful. I like it. Take a little step back when you're all done with your branches, with your leaves. Take a step back. See if there's anything you need to add. Right? Maybe you want more density, more leaves, and then color them all in. I'm going to go through that process rather quickly. You guys already know what you're doing there. So I'm going to take some green. I'll add a little bit of black to this mixture just to make this base a little bit darker. As soon as I'm done coloring in those leaves, I'm going to take a couple of minutes to look through the comments. I'll let you know when I'm doing that. Here we go. Remember to paint in the direction of your leaf. Helps to shape it. And you can work through this step pretty quickly. Again, it's the first base. Just make sure it's nice and completely covered. You don't want to see that background coming through. Then move on to the next leaf. Hi, 13-year-old Savannah. How are you? Welcome to today's painting. Gretchen Schultz. We love this. So much fun with the fam. I'm having fun too. It's always fun when I'm painting with you guys. Fanny. Yes, absolutely, Fanny. Don't worry. I know, again, I'll give you guys a little bit. I'm just working through the leaves right now, coloring them in. Don't forget, so in a little bit we're going to start working on the berries. In between those, so after we're done with those berries, you can come back to the leaves. You need to add more leaves. Let's say, for example, that you see me move to the berries. Don't stress too much. Those aren't super crucial steps where if you don't add them now, you're not going to get a chance to add them later, okay? Just do your best. I do understand the leaves are tricky, but you're going to have a little time there to catch up. Remember, folks, I can neither go too fast nor too slow. This type of painting can go into 3.5, 4 hours, 5 hours even if we really took our time with it. So I'm trying to keep it in between right around 2.5, but it might go a little more than that. Again, if at any point you have to leave because you know something comes up you can't finish today, or you can simply get tired, you can come back and continue where you left off with the recorded version. I'm simply taking a little bit of black, mixing with my green. I ran out of my original mixture, so just made some more. It doesn't have to be a perfect mix every time where the exact same colors are being used. As long as we're close, we're good. But definitely, folks, hopefully you guys are relaxing, having some fun with the process. For those of you that are new to the page, I always emphasize, whoops, just almost dropped that. I emphasize relaxing, having fun, not stressing too much. Letting go a little bit. I know everyone wants to create something really, really nice, and I totally get that. But while you're working, while you're creating, try to relax a little bit. With painting, I think, anyway, that the journey is just as important as the destination. Okay, the process, enjoying the process is important. All right. So there's my dark base, or darkish base of this green hue that I'm using. Okay. All right. I'm going to give you guys about 3 minutes on that. Let's take a look, see what you guys have. Let me catch up with the comments a little bit. Oh, wow, Kelly. Hope you're feeling well. Hope you're okay. Sounds like you're okay. I hope so. I have a friend that currently has COVID, and he's pretty miserable, but he's going to be okay. So, you know, hopefully you're hanging in there too, and you make a speedy recovery. Sheila McDermott Collins says, "My leaves are so awful, LOL." It's all right, guys. Remember, so sometimes as you're going through the process, it may not look like much. Yes, leaves are tricky. Just keep in mind, especially if you're newer to painting, the more practice you get, the better you get at it. You can also even come back and, let's say after you're done today, you want to try this one again, you can do it again. And I can almost guarantee you that you will do a better job a second time around or a third time around. Your brain will adapt a little bit, and you'll pick up on it. Donna Allen, hi, new here from North Carolina. Awesome, Donna. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Good, Kelly, good. Glad that things are looking okay. Beth Allison Botero, nurse here. I need to relax. Thank you for all you do. All the nurses on here. First responders, police, etc., etc. Everybody. You know, I know things are tough right now. Things are a little crazy, right? Depending on where you are, it's a little crazier than in some places than in others. Jane Meckleby Corbin says, recent cancer survivor. Ah, happy to hear that, you know, sounds like things are good for you. Hopefully it stays that way. I'm sure, you know, we all wish you the best. Hopefully everything's okay. Hannah Herrera, loving this painting. Hi, Hannah. Good, Amanda. Fantastic. All right. Couple more minutes there, folks. Let's see. Hi, Jesse. Susie here from Springfield, Virginia. I'm done now, and we just wanted to say thanks and thanks a bunch. Had fun. I even added glitter to the ornament and around the blue swirl. Ah, sounds really good. Send me your picture. Okay, don't forget to send me a picture. That'd be fantastic. You got it. It's my pleasure. Irina Shevchuk. We got to hop off. Son has to take his bath, but it's amazing. Keep it up. You got it, Irina. My pleasure. Thank you for being here. All right, guys. So just a little bit more here. So we got to move on to the berries. Again, we don't want to paint until the wee hours of the night or wee hours of the afternoon, depending on where you are. So wherever you are on the leaves, don't stress if you've only got 3 leaves on there, 4 leaves on there. We're going to add berries. Okay, we're going to add berries right now. So move on over to where I am, wherever you are, as long as you're not too far behind, right? Move on to where I am. We're going to add some berries. The placement of the berries, when you add more leaves, you can work around the berries. So don't stress too much. Okay, simply move over where I am and let's do this. I'm going to take a little liner brush, my little skinny brush, right? It's got some green on it because I was using it for my leaves. Going to clean it up. Stick it in my cup here, clean it up with my water. Okay, I also take a paper towel, take off the excess paint. Now I'm going to grab some red, straight red color here. Okay, I'm going to pick some spots over here by this leaf and add a little berry. Okay, this one right over here. There's one right over here. Just a little circle. You can also take. Somebody last night. I can't remember who the person was, but we were doing snowflakes, or no, we were doing the mouth on our snowman, and they said, hey, you could also use the back end of a brush, depending on how big your brush is. You sure could. So you could take a large brush, and maybe using the back end of it instead of having to make little circles by hand, you could dip the back end of your brush into the paint like this. And you'd simply come over and find a spot, like let's say right there. Okay, there's one. Okay, by varying the pressure of how hard you press, you can make smaller or bigger berries. Okay, you press a little harder, you get a bigger berry. Okay, so let's say I've got one right over here. Be careful with how much pressure you put on your canvas though. So maybe you can use these depending on what size you have for some of them, and then maybe use the brush end, the bristles for some others. But this is kind of a quick way to do this, right? You can kind of just come over and go right here. Right there's one. Right there's another. We got a little cluster right here. Okay? So it's up to you. Whatever works for you is fine. But if you're going to be using this method, just come on over. What I'll do is I'll start small and swirl my way to the approximate size that I want. Okay? And there's really not a whole lot to this. Yes, I am overlapping my branches a bit. We are going to come in and add some shading, darker shades towards the bottom, but I'm not adding so many berries that it's going to affect that. Okay? Somebody might say, hey, we can add these berries after the fact. You sure could. Okay? You can also outline the berries later with black, so they stand out a little bit more. Let's see, where am I going to add some more berries? How about right here, Jesse? Looks like a good spot. Maybe here. Holding my brush here back towards the end, nice and relaxed. Nothing super super hard, where it requires a lot of concentration, not a lot of detail, or it's not super intricate work. Okay, let's see. And of course, everyone's painting is going to have different amount of berries. Some of you are going to have a bunch of berries, some are going to have less. Obviously, or at least I think it looks better. The more berries you have, the more the brighter your painting is going to be. So there we go. So I'll take a little step back. I'll look at my piece from a little bit of a distance. Gives me a better overall view. Maybe I'm going to add a barrier right here. My OK Google just activated. Don't know why. OK Google, cancel. It's always a little creepy, right? Hey Google, cancel last command. Google's confused today. All right, so there's some berries there. I can always come back and add more later. You can also come back and add more leaves and more berries later, right? All good. So take a couple of minutes on this, 2-3 minutes on that. I'm going to start looking at the comments, see what we got. Once we finish up with the berries, we are going to put a layer of color on our ornament. Now, a little pro tip right here, or maybe it's not a pro tip, it's just a tip. It's something that might help you out. So if you have a big gap between your ornament and your branch, okay, that means you're going to have to draw a longer line. Once we add the little head to the top of the ornament, we're going to have to, if the bigger you make it, the smaller the gap. But if you have a really big gap, you might want to put a little branch down. And we'll figure that out later. Don't worry about it just yet. Just something to think about. You could have a little branch right in here that the ornament is hanging from. The closer branch you've got to the ornament, the shorter the string would have to be. And that can be a pretty tricky thing to add. Okay, so again, don't worry about that now. We're going to adjust for that later. Just something to think about for now. If you're looking at your ornament and you're going, oh my gosh, it's really far apart from my branch. How do I fix it? When we start to fix that, we're going to go ahead. You can add a little branch in there, so you don't have such a big gap. Okay. All right. Let's look at those comments. See what we've got. Yep, eraser on the back of a pencil, says Natalie Johnson. Yep, you can sure do that. Dip your eraser right into the paint and do this. Right, that absolutely would work. Sherry Pena says, my leaves aren't perfect. Snow can do wonders to hide imperfections. Absolutely. Also glitter. If you have glitter, you can use that to cover over the top of any areas that you don't necessarily like. Okay? Marcy Moser. Hi, this is very relaxing from Oregon. Awesome, Marcy. Glad you are relaxing as you paint along. If you're painting along, maybe you're just watching. But yes, absolutely. I'm relaxing over here too with a little Christmas music in the background, right? Heidi Tucker, I'm not very savvy with the lives. Just found this. Will I be able to replay? Yes, absolutely. For those of you that haven't heard this yet, this is true for all of my sessions. Once this live version is over, you'll be able to go to the live tab on the main Painting with Jesse page, and you'll find this video there along with all the other previous videos we've done. And I think we're closing in on 40 or something like that. So yeah, just go over to the live tab on that main page and you'll find that there. Okay? All right, let's see. So guys, I'm looking at the comment sections now. So if you guys have any questions or shout outs or anything like that, go right ahead and put them in there now. Leslie Newland says, I voted for this one, so happy we're doing that. We're doing this one. Awesome. There you go, Suzanne, getting her protractor out to draw the ornament. There you go. Amanda Jane, I got off work early today. My boss was very supportive to painting today for my self-care. Awesome, Amanda. Thank you for being here, and thank you to your boss for letting you come out and join us today. All right, guys. So I think it's time for us to add a little layer of paint to our ornament. Okay, so actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and take a pencil and I'm going to draw the top part. We can do it in pencil or we can do it in with the paint. Okay, I'm going to, let's see. what would make it easier for you guys to see this? I'm actually going to bring in the camera for a close-up. Okay, I'm going to bring it in for a close-up, and I'll put it back once we're done here so you guys can see what it is that I've got. Let me lower my volume here a little bit. I know when we're concentrating, like when we're driving a car or whatever, we're backing into space. We got to lower the radio, lower the music a bit. I've got my circle here. Okay, I've got my pencil. And again, you can do this in chalk. If you've got a darker colored chalk, you can do it with the paint itself. I normally would come in here, or it just depends. I could come in here with my paint, a little tiny liner brush, and paint this all in. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to add this. Give you guys a little close-up. Okay, so what we've got is a circle that is about right in here. We're going to add a couple little lines here. The neck. Okay, so this is all this is right here is a couple little lines that go straight up. So let's do that. Somewhere approximate the middle of your ornament right here. Okay, two little straight lines that go up like that. Okay, we're essentially creating almost a rectangle. Then we're going to go across like this. Connect the top of that line. So you basically created a rectangle. And what that is, that is this part right in here, the blue part, right below the silver. Okay? Once you've got that, you're going to make a larger box or larger rectangle right over the top of that. So you're going to come out a little bit on each side. Again, if you're doing it in pencil, keep your pencil marks nice and light. Makes it easy to do this. Makes it easy to come in and just erase if you have to. Okay? Not too much larger. I probably made that a little larger than I need to. A little bit larger. So this new line that I just added extends out a little tiny bit on the right, a little tiny bit on the left. What do I do next? Come right up. We're adding a little rectangle to the top. Okay? And there you go. Nothing to it. Almost looks like a bottle cap. Okay? All right. Give you a moment on that. Thank you, Sally. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay, once Raleigh Russell says too slow. Again, Raleigh, so hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. Again, everybody has a different pace. Can't go too quickly. I'll lose a lot of you. And for those of you that are a little faster, I get it. I totally get it. Okay, my apologies. And if you, if you feel that it's too slow, just remember that the live version will be available, or the recorded version of this is available. I hope you guys all stick around, but I understand if it's too slow. Here we go. Top of the ornament. Nice little loop. Thank you, Rolly. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, a little loop on top. And then you can use your pencil to draw in a really, really light line so you can barely see it, because we're going to cover this up with paint right up to the tree. Or if you wanted to, like I mentioned earlier, you could paint in a little branch that comes down to close the gap, and then your string only goes to, you're cutting the length of how far up that string has to go. All right? All right. Again, really light marks so you can erase. There we go. There's our ornament. Once we do this, you got all that, we're gonna come in and add a layer of paint to our ornament. You get to choose your color, of course. I'm going to, wondering if I should change it up. I did blue. I think I've done, this is the second painting of this that I do. The original, I actually busted a hole through it of course, by accident. So I had to recreate a new one. I've done 2 with blue. Maybe I'm going to do, let me see here. Let me take a look at my colors. Pink wins the day. There we go. And this is another brand that I use, the Fine Touch. I picked this brand up at Hobby Lobby. Another really good one. This one's a little bit better quality than the Artist Loft one that I use. A little thicker, in my opinion. Covers a little better. Just going to pour some out on my plate. Whoops. And then we're going to do first layer. First layer over the top of my ornament. On these first layers, I just want to stress that the first layers often are transparent depending on the consistency of your paint. But we layer it. That's why we do it in layers. And the first layer, we let the first layer dry, we come back and do the second layer. So we're going to drop the first layer here on our ornament. And then we're going to move around, work on our branches, give you guys some time to catch up on the branches. We're going to add some detail to the leaves. We're going to add some detail to the branches first. And then we'll come back to the ornament. But watch what I do here. I'm going to paint in a curved fashion. So actually really carefully so we don't, I better switch brushes here. I'm going to switch over to, not my liner brush, but I'm going to switch over to my little 1/8" flat brush that I've got right here. Okay, this little guy right here. What I'm going to do with this, I'm going to take some of my pink paint. Watch me do this part. So you guys, for those of you that are newer, so you don't run beyond your lines, or you can avoid running. Doing the best you can to not run past your pencil marks or whatever, or chalk marks or whatever it is that you use to draw this with. So just taking a little bit of water, again mixing that water into the paint really nicely, really well. Don't want any runny paint. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this small brush and I press it up against the plate as well to, again, just keep it nice and skinny. Now I'm going to try to get in really close. I'll scoot back out in just a little bit. Okay, I'll scoot back out, the camera back out in just a moment. I'm going to take my painting hand, or non-painting hand. I put it on my table here, on my drafting table. I can use my wrist here to support my hand. Okay, my painting hand, because I want, this is precision work. I'm also holding my brush really close to the tip. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use this brush to work around the edge of my ornament. I'm going to outline the inside, overlapping my pencil line just a tiny bit. Got to be careful with this because very easily you can go beyond your lines and your ornament starts to grow or starts to get out of shape. Here I go. Hand right here. The water, though, is what helps me do this. I don't like to move too slowly when I do this, because if I go real slowly, too slow, my hands are going to shake. My hand can shake a little bit. So I pick kind of it's a slower pace, but it's not super slow. Here at the top doesn't matter too much because my paint's going to go up. But now I've got to lean over a little tiny bit. And again, somebody mentioned earlier that I could turn this. I sure could. I could do this to get this edge closer to me. So I'll do that now. Okay, now I'm going to come over and I'm going to do this. Start from the top. And I just barely approach the edge so that as I press down on the brush, I'm pressing down on the brush, I can control that edge so it just barely touches that pencil line. Again, hand right here, especially if you're working on an easel, this is the way you would do it. If you're not painting on an easel, you could just hover over the top and work your way around it really carefully. Whoops, didn't bring my glasses here, so actually I do have my glasses. Let me grab my glasses so I can have a better look. These are my painting glasses right here. Check those out. Little bad boys out. There's my pencil line. Now I can see it much better. Once I have the outline in, I don't have to worry about it. I can go a lot more quickly on the inside of this. So I just kind of look around. Yep, over here. Wow. I can see so much better with these glasses on. All right, now I can grab some paint, just come inside and fill the rest of it in. I can work a lot more quickly now. But watch what I do. I'm curving my brush strokes so that it gives my ornament some shape, right? Just kind of doing this. And you can even do this. When you get towards the center, you can kind of start painting up and down as you start to curve to the left. As you start to head towards the left, then you start to curve your brush strokes in that direction. Further out you go, the more curvature you create with your brush strokes. Right? We're giving some dimension, our ornament some dimension. And again, this first layer is going to be transparent. It's going to be a little bit uneven, blotchy, etc. Don't stress. We're going to come back and do another layer over the top of this. So again, we go to the right. Our hand curves. Go to the left. Our hand curves in that direction. All right, there we go. First layer. Now I'm going to come. Actually, let me turn this back around. And my Christmas music is back out. Still watching YouTube? Yes. Thank you for asking. Up in here. Using my pinky. Stabilize my hand. There we go. First layer on our ornament. We'll do one more, and then we got snow and glitter and everything else that we're going to add over the top of it, if you've got glitter. All right, work on your ornament. Okay, I'm going to show the original now, folks. I'm backing back out, so you guys have the close-up. Oh, sorry, so you guys have the whole thing in view. All right. Rolly, the next one is, thank you for asking. The next one's going to be next Thursday. I've got a kids focus centric, but anybody can come and join in. We're going to do Olaf next Thursday. And then after that, the lesson's going to be, I'll show you right now for those of you that are just popping in or haven't heard, but we're doing the Grinch and Cindy Lou next Saturday, 12 p.m. Pacific time here in California, West Coast time. So I'm going to be teaching you how to draw the Grinch freehand, everything. I will, for those of you that don't want to draw freehand, and I totally get it, I'm going to have a template available. I'll have the information on that up either tonight or tomorrow. The event for this is already up, but I'll modify the details to let you guys know how to access the template. More than likely, I'm going to be emailing it out. You guys will email me for it, and then I send it out to you. No charge. I'm just sending you that out. But at least a template for the head, maybe a template for the ornament with the outline, Cindy Lou's outline. I don't know yet. We'll see. But I will have a template available for those that don't want to do this freehand. This is next Saturday. Got a bunch of other events coming up too, folks. I haven't added them just yet, but I'll have updates by the beginning of this week. So we've got at least 2 or 3 more events remaining in the month on top of what I just pointed out. I think 2 more. So 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 more events. We'll see. Okay? So thank you, Adriana. Thank you, Rolly. But great question, Rolly. My pleasure, Adriana, my pleasure. So you like the pink one better, huh, Adriana? Oh, yeah, Kelly, absolutely. If you just put one branch, it looks like a Charlie Brown tree. That's right. A little bear tree. So I am doing a Charlie Brown Christmas painting this year. This month, I should say. For those of you that don't know, last month we did this. Freehanded everything. I taught you guys how to draw this step by step. Okay? It's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown. Awesome little scene from the Peanuts cartoon. But this video is available under the live tab if you guys want to go check that out. But I teach you how to draw everything freehand. So, okay? A little complicated, but you want to push yourselves, challenge yourselves. Okay? That's how you will learn. You force your brain to work. All right, everyone. I got a little bit of silver paint I'm going to add right here. And I don't think I added that in the supplies list. I do apologize if that is the case. I'm trying to remember now, but you can mix something that looks like silver by mixing. You're going to make yours gray if you don't have silver, or you can make it gold if you got gold. Okay, but to create a silverish color, you would just mix a little bit of white with a little touch of black, and that gray will give you the illusion of silver if you blend it in a particular way. But I've got some silver right here. I'm just going to take a little liner brush right in here. I like to outline first, holding my brush nice and close to the tip, again, because we're doing a little bit of intricate work, detail work. Got to have better control. And I just color this in. That's most definitely going to take at least one more layer of this silver color that I'm using. So it's transparent right now. Okay, there we go. I will also take the silver and paint the little loop. Okay. I could also take this and paint the string. I'm not doing that just yet. I'll save that for later. The silver or gray I can paint the string with. Your string can be whatever color you want. All right? So, okay, guys. So about another minute, and we're going to start working on adding detail to our branches and then adding detail to the leaves. We're going to come back to the ornament, and we will be close to finished. Look at that. Time's flown. It's already been almost 2 hours. Time flies when you're having fun. My pleasure, Jessica. Jessica Dubois, my pleasure. You got it, Julie. My pleasure, Julie Saylor. Saylor, thank you. She says, I relaxed. Absolutely, absolutely. Kathy Cute, absolutely, my pleasure. All right, everyone. So the next steps are going to be adding a darker shade of brown to the bottom edge of our branches. Okay, and this is pretty basic. There's nothing really tricky about this. There's an uneven layer of a darker brown that I added down in here. Okay, so you're going to mix a little bit of black and a little bit. Don't worry if you're not done with your ornament. Just kind of watch what I'm doing here. Maybe join in, but do your best to get a quick layer. Finish up your layer, your main layer on your ornament. And I know the edges are tricky. I get it, folks. Trust me, I get it. The edges can be a little bit hard to work through. I can see over here, for example, my perfectionist side is going, hey, you got a little tiny bit right here that's uneven. I can fix that later, or if I can just kind of go, relax, Jesse, it's okay. Looks good. I can leave it too, okay? But we're going to start working on the shading down in here. You can always go back to your ornament and work on the shape of it later. But watch this step because it's important. I've got some brown. I'm going to take my little 1/8" brush. My little 1/4" brush could work as well. Got some brown in here. I got some pink mixed into my paintbrush, a little tiny bit, but it's no big deal. It'll blend in with the brown and the black and be all good. Take a little bit of brown, a little bit of black. Mix it in with my brown. The exact shade of brown that I'm creating isn't super important as long as it's darker than the original brown that you've got on there. It will work. You can add a little bit of water to your mixture to help it flow a little bit better, but again, a little bit of black, a little bit of brown, and away we go. So when I add this layer, push down into the plate, and what I'm going to do, starting on, it doesn't really matter where I start, I just come in here. Maybe this layer covers approximately a third of your branch, the bottom third. As you get further out towards the point, you want to make it the layer a little bit skinnier, right? A little bit smaller. So if you have to, part way out, grab a smaller brush or a skinnier brush. So now I can take my liner brush, dip it into my paint, and I continue. Again, mostly on the bottom part, doesn't have to be a perfectly even layer. Don't worry about that. It could be uneven all the way through, right? It's a branch. It's uneven shapes. The surface is uneven. So you don't have to have a perfectly even layer all the way across. It can vary a little bit. Some areas can be darker than others. It's nature, right? You get an unevenness in color. I need to mix more black over here with my brown. Just mixing more of my dark color, dark brown. Okay. All right, down here. Let's get a little bit darker, just a touch, so I add more black. And your little offshoots, little tiny branches that come off your main branches need a little bit also. Again, don't stress about how thick or, how even it is across. It's going to vary a little bit. Just concentrate on making it a little bit smaller the further out towards the edge that you go. And then also don't forget the video's going to be on replay. So you can always go back and finish with the recorded version. As soon as this is over, I press save on the video and it goes right over to the live tab. I think it might take about 5 minutes before it's actually there. But yeah, so if you're, you want to take some time and refine yours, go back and kind of listen in on some of the stuff that we're going over right now. You can go back and watch it there. Okay, so don't worry about it too much. All right, top branch. So right here where my little berries are, just work around them. Right here I can stop. All right, continue on the other side of my berries, just like what I did down here. From time to time, I'll take a little step back, look at your masterpiece in progress. By stepping back, taking a little look from a distance, you're able to see everything. Makes it easier to catch anything that needs to be corrected. Okay? All right. Very cool. Take a little time on that. Next step, we're not going to need so really quickly, we're not going to need a lighter layer over the top of that. I like that transition between the light original layer and then the darker layer at the bottom. It gives it a little bit of a 3D effect, right? It's the sun's on top, so you got a little bit of shade. And then but we are going to add a little snow and a little after, right? One of the last steps is we add snow to our piece. But we are going to come in here and refine our leaves in about 5 minutes. Let's take a look at what you guys got. Kelly, no worries. Have a good night. See you on Olaf. My pleasure. Thank you for joining in today. You got it, Judy Shan. In Canada, in New Brunswick. My pleasure. You got it, Amy. My pleasure, my pleasure. How are you? Hope you're doing great. All right, guys, I'm going to leave you to a little bit of music. Give you a little time to catch up on that step, okay? And then we're going to come in with the branches, or the leaves, adding a little bit of color to those leaves. Hi, Fay Hill. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Hanging out watching is allowed. Penny Colt says, on the blue ornament, did you use glitter? I sure did. Okay. I have glitter paint that we're going to be applying towards the end. That's optional. But yes, absolutely. There's glitter here. I'll be applying some glitter. I've got some glitter on the berries, glitter on the leaves, glitter on the snow, of course, glitter on the ornament. I got some of that. We'll be playing. Very last step. Okay, a couple more minutes, folks. We're gonna get on to some leaves. If you are finished with this step, you can look at your berries, refine them if you need to. If your ornament is dry, you can add another layer of paint over that. We're going to do that together in a little bit, but just in case you guys are done with this step and looking for the next step, that's what you would do. Look at your berries, refine them if you need to. Look at some of your leaves. If you have to make some changes, make them now. And also, you can add another layer of paint over your ornament. For those of you that are a little bit on the quicker side, okay? All right, guys and gals, let's talk about our leaves. What I'm going to do is pretty basic. I'm going to come in here with a darker layer of green and just add it towards the bottom edge, lightly, just toward the bottom edges of the leaves, the darker side, right? So There's a little bit of a darker edge towards the bottom. Then we're going to start coming in. Actually, we're not going to do the snow just yet. After we do that, we're going to come into the ornament, add another layer over that, and then we'll start with the snow. Okay, and I got to take a little step back and make sure I'm not forgetting anything in between, but that's generally the idea right now. So I'm simply going to take some green, the original green that I've got. I'm going to add a little bit more black to get a darker shade of that green. This layer is light. It's more like I'm blending in. Whoops, where did my palette go? Did I lose it? I sure did. Don't forget, folks, please don't forget. I really like to see your paintings. So when you're all done, whether you're finishing today or tomorrow, send me your paintings so I can share them. Okay? And once again, what I'd like to say is I'd like to get those through Messenger. Send them to me on Painting with Jesse through Messenger. Okay, so I'm taking some black, mixing a darker shade of the original green that I used. Okay? Doesn't have to be perfectly blended. I can have some streakiness in there. In other words, I can have some areas that are more green, some areas that are darker green, or black, I should say. You know, so just gonna grab my brush. I just kind of dab my paint in here, and again towards the bottom edge of my leaf, I just kind of come in here and watch what I'm doing. I'm just kind of dabbing a little bit. Doesn't have to be super defined. It's kind of the bottom edge. I can also use my finger, just lightly tap over the top. Doesn't have to. Again, this layer doesn't have to be perfectly even and perfect, and just a little bit. I'm using the tip of the brush, the very point of those bristles, and just kind of just lightly tapping. And I'll do the same thing to each leaf. What was I saying about sending me paintings? Send them to me through Messenger on Painting with Jesse. If you have any trouble with that, I know some people say, hey, I can't send you my picture. Somebody in the comments mentioned, hey, if you message him first, then you could add the picture afterwards. Might be that you can't add it to me because it's like you have to send me like hi Jesse, I'm about to send you a picture. And then you could send me the picture. I think something like that. But again, it's under Painting with Jesse, right? What I'm going to do is once I have a bunch of your paintings, I will post a big kind of, so I'm painting, so this leaf is facing downwards. So this can have paint all across the leaf. But this is the bottom edge, so that's going to have a little bit more. There's no precise here, folks, no precise. I hope you're not watching this going, oh my gosh, mine has to be just like that. It isn't like that. Do your best. Just kind of watch what I'm doing, holding my brush towards the back, just lightly. There's no perfect shade of this color. It's as long as it's a darker shade than what you've got on your original layer, it should be just fine. You're creating a little bit of a contrast. You're giving your leaves a little bit of shape. So this one's pointed up, so more of the dark values will be down here towards the bottom. Now I didn't add any stems, like any dark stems, but I can do that here, and I'll demonstrate that on a few of them. Okay, and then maybe this one gets a little lighter towards the top because that's pointing up. Okay, but anyhow, so I'll make a post with where I attach as many of the paintings that I've received, and I'll say, hey guys, check it out. Check out all the paintings of a bunch of the people that joined me on the holly tree painting. Check them out. People like going through and seeing the differences, and it gets people excited and happy, and gives people ideas for their own paintings if they haven't done this yet. But you can also add yours to the comments. If you haven't sent it to me, you can add it to the comments of that post. Like I said, if you can take pictures of yourselves holding the paintings, that's even more fantastic. If you're a little shy, and just want to send a picture of your painting, that's okay. The painting by itself. All right, just going through here and working this dark color in. So I think we started with about something like 400 and some people or devices on the event. We're currently down to about 282. That means quite a few of you guys are still hanging in there, which I absolutely appreciate. So thank you to you guys who are still here. I know some of you guys are just kind of hanging out watching, which is pretty awesome as well. But do not forget that the video will be available for you to watch later, the recorded version of this session, under the live tab on the main Painting with Jesse page. All right, just gonna finish this up a little bit. Again, watch, folks, there's no perfect here. I'm not sitting here going, it's gonna be right. I mean, I could, if I really wanted to, go in there and draw a little line across the middle of my leaf, of each leaf, and then divide it and add this to one side, but not that kind of a pain. But what I might do if there's a little time, and this isn't necessary either, I will outline it in black. And you can do this with a Sharpie if you want the outlining part where you outline the outer edges, kind of like on the original. It makes the leaves stand out. Or you could simply use a really tiny liner brush. I'll be using a tiny liner brush for that. Probably the very last thing we'll do before glitter. All right. I'll take a little step back. I'll look at my handiwork and I'll say, do I like it or not? And I like it. So I'll give you guys a little bit to catch up on that. For those of you that are already here and kind of like, okay, Jesse, what's the next step? The next step would be adding another layer of paint to your ornament if you haven't done that already. Okay, and then for those of you that are interested and would like to do this, it's not necessary. You can take a little bit of brown, your little liner brush, and maybe come in here and give some of your leaves little stems. You can also probably do it with a darker paint, a little bit of black. And again, if you're watching, paying close attention to how I'm doing this, to stabilize my hand a little bit, there goes my pinky. Drop that little pinky right on the canvas. No, I already did that one, just refining it a little bit more. And those little stems can just barely peek through. You don't have to make them super defined. You can trick the eye by just adding little tiny touches of stems. Okay. All right. Susan Gutowski, all watercolor and still here. I love how it's working. Fantastic. Diane says, thank you so much. This has been fun. Was painting and spending some quality time with my 13-year-old. We will finish tomorrow. Fantastic, Diane. It is absolutely my pleasure. Hope you had a good time. Thank you for being here. Okay, and once again, I just want to thank all of you guys. Let's see, Lee says, or Leah, I'm not sure. What do you do when the strand from the paintbrush comes out and is stuck and dry on your canvas? Okay, fantastic question. Something that you'll come up with. It happens from time to time. You're painting along and all of a sudden you look and you're like, oh, I've got a little hair, bristle that came off my brush and now it's dried. I didn't notice it when it happened. Now it's dried and sitting there. Couple of options. First thing that I always do whenever there's something like that. For example, I've got this little red dot right here. Little red dot where I made when I made these berries, there's a little red dot hanging out right there. somehow I didn't notice it, but I dropped a little bit of paint right there. So I can look at it and go, okay, how do I fix this? Whatever it is, whatever surprise you have, first thing that I do is I'll try to incorporate it. How can I incorporate that into the painting so that I don't have to erase it, so I don't have to remove it? Because that can often be a lot more difficult than simply going, I'll make my berry a little bit larger, right? Or I'll make my branch just a little bit thicker and we'll cover that up. In your case, depending on where that bristle is, you can remove it with your finger if you want. Like, you could kind of scratch it off. When you do that, you might remove some of the paint underneath it. If you take that route and you remove it, then you can decide, how do I cover that up? You can take some of the original color, try and match your original color and cover it and hope that fixes it. Or maybe it's close enough to one of the edges of your branches or a leaf or something where you can extend that part out. If, let's say, for example, I had that happen right here, and I come over and I remove my leaf, or the strand, and I have a little mark right there, I would simply add a little branch to cover that up. Take a little bit of brown, create a new little branch, and done. Okay? If it's close to a leaf, I could see if I could extend the leaf, or maybe I need to add another leaf next to it, right? You could have two leaves right side to side. No reason why you can't do that. All these are kind of spread out. There's no reason why you can't have 2-3 leaves hanging out overlapping. So you want to look at different ways that you can correct it, and that's how I would approach it first. Can I incorporate it? How so? And if I cannot incorporate, there's no way that I can fix it where I can blend it in with the rest of the painting. I have to remove it, and I remove some paint off the canvas in the process, then I would have to go in there and fix that area by adding more of the original paint on that spot. Okay? Hope that helped. Denise, my pleasure. Hello to you and your son Wyatt. Yeah, hopefully it's relaxing for you guys. I know that it can be a little stressful for some. It just really depends on your approach. Try to relax and have some fun. All right, everyone. So, let's take a look at our piece. I'm going to come in here and add another layer of pink to my ornament. Okay? So that's what I'm working on. I'm not going to take my paint too close to the edges because I don't want to mess up. I don't want to mess up my edges. I've already got pretty clean edges except for maybe that. I'm not going to worry about that. So I'm just going to come in here and get close to it. As close as I can without actually quite touching it, or I'll try to avoid it as much as I can. But I keep the same approach where I'm down the center of it, up and down. I can kind of do this. But as I start to get the paint over to the sides, I start to curve my brush strokes. Further out you go, the more curved they are. What are we doing? We're giving our ornament some shape. Okay? Even though it's all the same color, the brush strokes, the direction of your brush strokes will help play tricks on your eyes, and it will give your ornament dimension. So curved on the edges. Further you go in, your brush strokes are less curved till you get towards the center, and then you can kind of do this up and down. Start going in the other direction, and we start to curve them out again. Okay? Then we color in right here. Right? Clean up my brush a bit. I mentioned I was going to add some silver to some more silver, another layer of silver right there, so I'll do that now. Grabbing more silver here, I'm back to my little 1/4-inch brush. All right. And now, I'm going to go ahead and do my little string in the silver. I want to, not sure what's happening with this YouTube channel. Some little gaps in between the music. I might have to see what that's about. That is correct, Denise. Oh, Jasmine, sorry. How do I start the video from the start? Help. So you can't start it from the start right now. You're going to have to wait till it's over, unfortunately. And I don't know why that is, but these videos, while the live session's in play, you can't actually back it up and start it all over. You have to wait till it's over and then play it from the start. So if you're looking for the video, once it's over, you'll go over to the live tab on the main Painting with Jesse page and start it from there. You can access it from there. Then you can forward it and back it up, etc., etc. But during the live session, for whatever reason, you can't go back to the start. I think maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure. Don't want to talk about something that I don't know. I was going to say why I thought Facebook does it, but I'm just kind of guessing. Anyway, all right. So taking my paint, my silver paint, adding a little bit of water to it, blending it in really nicely. Take my brush, I spin it, make that point real skinny. But it's the water that's going to help me in this case. The water does have to work. Take my pinky, come across right here. I can also take my non-painting hand. Now I can put it right up to the easel, stabilize my hand a little bit. I can also use my pinky, combination of the hand and my pinky right in here. Nice little line right down into my ornament. And then, of course, maybe yours is one of those little hooks, right? Those little ornament hooks, so you can do a little hook over the top. Mine's a string. Mine's a little string. So I'm just going to make these little lines, little thread lines. Really skinny little lines, or as skinny as I can get them. Maybe I'll do 3 of them. You can barely see them. I think I left those out from the original. Okay, little thread lines right there where we spun that string around the tree a couple times to tie it to the ornament to the tree. Okay? All right. So work on that for a couple minutes. We're going to add some snow. We got some snow to add. Yeah, we're going to add some snow, and then we're going to do a little bit of outlining in black. Add our glitter, and we are done. Susan, how's it going? Thank you so much for this painting from Timmins, Ontario, Canada. I will finish tomorrow. Awesome, Susan. My pleasure, my pleasure. So work on that, guys. Work on that for a little bit. I know your ornament. Once we add the snow, we're going to add a little dimension with the snow as well. It's going to be a little snow right on top that curves. Okay, just like on the original, slightly curved, gives it a little bit of a curvature. And then we add snow to the ornament. Again, folks, for those of you that are interested, this information is listed in the description of the video. And if you can help contribute to the page, it helps me keep doing this. And for those of you that can, there's a virtual tip jar. I've got a Venmo, PayPal, and Zelle. If you use Venmo or PayPal, there is a picture on my account. Before you send me anything, you'll see me there. That's how you verify that it's me. You see my picture at Painting with Jesse, all one word. PayPal, I believe in the description there's actually a link to the PayPal. If you click on it, it'll take you right over. But it's all one word, Painting with Jesse. And then Zelle, it's just my phone number, 951-217-2237. If you send a Venmo, they might ask you to verify the last 4 digits of my phone number, so it's right there, okay? You guys can also help me by sharing the page. Okay, it really helps grow the page if you share, invite friends. These tutorials are open to everyone. So if you know anyone that might be interested and might like to join in, let them know about it. Share it to your page. When you post your painting on your Facebook or Instagram or whatever, you can mention the page. You can tag the page, Painting with Jesse. Okay, that would be fantastic. And then, yeah, that's how you can really help out that way. Okay, but all right, folks, let's talk about a little bit of snow. So all my snow is just a bunch of white paint, right? Basic white paint. I'm going to use a little 1/4-inch brush right here. This one's, it's about seen its day. Kind of splayed out bristles. But I'm just going to come in here, grab. I'd load up on my white paint, quite a bit of it. Okay. Hold on one sec. I need to check, make sure that I'm still connected to everything. I'm not losing power anytime soon. Everything's charging. Everything. Okay, good. Been a couple times where I've been doing one of these and all of a sudden I get an alert that my phone's about to die, and that is no fun. All right, right up here at the top, just gonna come in here. I can make this thick or I can make it really light, up to you. I'll let you kind of decide how much snow you have on your leaves. Okay, all the way through. I'm just touching. Don't want to talk too much because there's a nice song right here. I'm just dabbing with the tip of the bristles. Add it to my branches. Mostly towards the top. On the top side of the leaves. Whatever areas, you know, furthest, the edge that's on top. Light little taps. The more paint you have on your brush, the thicker the paint will be. The thicker the snow you'll have. Okay, just going through, loading up my brush so I can do it on my branches. Again, watch how I'm holding my brush. Oh no. On this nice song, YouTube is still skipping or pausing. We're going to change this song to Oh Holly Tree. Can you guys hear it? Let's change the words just for this painting. All right. Wherever you want. You're going to have snow accumulated on your branches wherever you feel like you want to add some. And then if you fall behind on this step, in a moment we're going to start adding some to the ornament. I'm going to outline the leaves. I'll check the time and I'll outline the leaves in black. But again, these are all little steps that you can always, when I say, hey, it's all right guys, we're all done. If you're not done with yours, don't worry. You can continue working on your painting. You know, finish up the steps that you need to. This isn't like, you know, hey, once I'm done, you have to be done too. So don't worry about it too much. Just do it. Do the best you can. Keep up as much as you can. And then if you've got some stuff to finish up after we're done, it's all perfect. A lot of people finish up that way. You're already noticing lots of people in the comments saying, hey, Jesse, hey, it's been fun. It's getting late. Or whatever the case may be, they have to log off. They're going to finish later. Also, add a little snow. I'm going to switch over to a smaller brush in a bit to add some snow to the berries. All right, some of the berries have to have a little snow too. to the branches a bit. Down here. Pick your spots. As much or as little snow as you want. All right, take a little step back. Look at your masterpiece. Okay, Chiquita Fountain, sounds great. All right, Angel Lentz, have a good night or good afternoon, depending on where you guys are. Amanda Jane says, or somebody says, I just realized I bought glitter glue, not glitter paint. So glitter glue will work just fine. The glue, the glitter, let me show you the glitter that I've got. My glitter looks like this. It's actually glitter floating around in glue. Okay, so that's exactly, actually I recommend this over glitter paint. A lot more density here. Okay, glitter floating around in glue. This is a DecoArt brand called Galaxy Glitter. There's another brand from DecoArt called, gosh, what is it called? It is called Craft Twinkles. Same thing. Glitter glue or glitter floating around in glue. That's what you want. All right, watch what I do with the ornament, folks, right here at the top. Right up in here, I'm just tapping. Now, I'm gonna work my way all around the top, and yes, my paint might be a little bit wet. If it so happens that your paint is still wet here, maybe wait to add this step, or you can add it and it's gonna mix in with your paint a little bit, making it a shade of whatever color you have on the actual ornament. That's okay. You can always come back and add another layer of white over the top of that, and that's gonna fix it. But what I want to do here on this bottom edge, I'm just gonna curve this, make a little curved line. Again, this helps to add dimension to my ornament. Slightly little curve. Slight little curve. And then maybe the idea is that here towards the bottom edge there's less snow. Better switch to a smaller brush so I don't mess this up. So I'm going to use my little 1/4 inch brush, clean it up a little. Okay. So towards the bottom, there's a little less paint. It's a little thicker at the top. A little less snow. There's more at the top than at the bottom. And since my paint is wet, it is mixing a little bit more with my ornament, and that's okay. Like I said, this is, as soon as this layer is dry, I'll come back and add a little bit more white paint over the top, and that'll take care of that. Just want to show you though how this works. So I'm only using the very point of my brush. Okay, maybe I'll come in here and some of the snow goes up a little bit on that neck. Then I come up at the top. Okay, like that. All right. All right. So it is 6:34. We're 2 hours and a half into our session. I'm going to do the outline in black on my leaves while you guys are working on your ornament. Watch what I'm doing here. This is optional. You don't have to do this. This is something that you're going to decide whether you want to do it or not. You can do this with a really thin black marker like a Sharpie, or you can do it with a really small liner brush. I'm going to take some black. You can also do this with a really dark green. It's up to you. I'll take a black. I want to mix plenty of water with this without making it runny. You guys already know my thoughts on that, but no exception here. I take some water, bring it over to my paint. I want to create a flowy paint, but not a drippy paint. This is going to help me a lot. If you struggle at all to get paint to adhere to your canvas, add a little bit of water to it and you'll watch the magic. You should be able to do this with this paint. Watch me. So I'm holding it up. There's no drips, but when I do this, look how easily that paint goes right onto that plate. That's what you want. Push the brush into the plate, spin it, give yourself a nice little point, and all you're going to do is you're going to take on the exposed edge of the green. Whoops. You can give yourself a nice little outline. Oops, let me bring my paint back over here. Now this will take a little while to do, so again, don't worry about doing it all right now. Maybe do a couple right now, but do this on your own afterwards. Once I'm done with this, for the most part, the majority of my painting will be dry, and I'm going to demonstrate the glitter. Okay, but you can kind of come through here and outline each and every leaf. And the areas where there's snow, maybe you just have a really light outline where you can barely see it, or maybe you can only see parts of the outline. You don't have to do every one. If you notice, that leaf now stands out a little bit more than the others. Again, this is optional. Another option would be instead to take a light green or a dark color, a really light green, almost yellow, and give your leaves, and actually let me demonstrate on one or two of them. Instead of doing an outline, whoops, I'm going to make a mixture of light green or lime green. You can also do this with green and white. Or conversely, with a dark color, a darker color than anything that's on your leaves right now. So I can do this. This is actually kind of cool. Come down the middle, okay, and then give your leaf some veins. You can both do this and you can outline it, up to you. Options, lots of options. The nice thing about, again, this stuff, so that's not as noticeable there because my green isn't light enough, the mixture that I made. But again, as an alternative, you could do this. To the exposed areas of the leaf, you can give it some veins. A little line down the center, and it doesn't have to be all the way through, like right here. Okay, I got a little line that goes through there. Okay, I can do that. Little subtle. Okay, lines on each branch, on each leaf. And you can do whatever you want, whichever one you want to do. It's really subtle, but it makes a difference. Look at that right there. Okay, that's a little bit of light green going down the middle. You can lighten it up too. Okay, but there's a nice little example right there. But again, you get to decide on your own, and you can do that to each one of your leaves if you'd like, or you can also outline them like I was doing earlier. Simply outline each and every leaf. And that helps them all stand out. Like I'll come here. Just avoid putting your hand in any areas that are wet. Okay. You don't have to outline the whole leaf, just parts that are more exposed. In other words, parts that aren't covered in snow. Little pinky action. One time, somebody was painting with me here live, and don't remember the name, wish I did. She said, "Hey, you're using your pinky hand stabilizer." That's exactly what it is. Hand, where it's appropriate, I'll put my hand down, wrist right over the top. But anyway, folks, I'm not going to do this to every single one. Okay, but you get the picture. We'll end up painting really late. We're closing in on 3 hours. So I'm going to do a couple more here like this, and then you can do this on your own if you'd like, okay? Now I'm going to look at the comments here in just a moment, and then we're going to talk about glitter. But I like the outlining though. It makes things stand out. pulls them out away from the background a little bit, okay? But all right. Pat Murphy, thanks. I had fun. Good night. You are very welcome. Have a good night. I know it's getting late, really late in some areas. Yeah, perfect. Amy Dusenberry, how's it going, Amy? She says, if you have an imaginary light source picked out, it will tell you how the light-dark contrast will work from one side of the picture to the other. Absolutely. Absolutely right. Rosa Leon says, thank you. It was nice to paint with you. My pleasure, Rosa. Thank you for being here. Leslie Newland says, I'm so proud of my progress. Thanks. You're absolutely welcome, Leslie. All right, folks, I'm going to talk about glitter. Again, for those of you that are familiar with this, you already know how this works. For those of you that are new to glitter, maybe you don't have glitter, you can always add this later. So I've got this pearl glitter color from Galaxy Glitter. I'm going to pour a little bit of this on my plate. Looks nice and shiny, glittery. Again, it's just glitter floating around in glue. Okay. I also have, hold on one second while I grab, so I've got this other stuff, this glitter, this green glitter. It's called Glitterific from Hobby Lobby. A little more expensive, a little fancier, but it's really thick. So what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to use this to cover some of my leaves. This is the color that I used, or this is the type of glitter that I used on these leaves. Okay, you see these here, right? On the green parts. On the light parts where the snow is, I used that pearl color that I showed you a moment ago. Okay, and then I've got some red that I can put on the berries. So I'm going to demonstrate it a little bit. It makes a big difference. This Glitterific glitter, like I said, is really thick, so bear with me a moment while I pull some out, or coax some out of my little bottle here. Poured a lot out. Some of that might have to go back into the bottle. We'll see. So there's my two glitters there. Okay, and let me see if I've got something that I could add to my ornament. I sure do. Even though my ornament isn't purple, it is kind of a purplish pink. And this glitter right here, also from Glitterific, has some pinkish flakes in there. So this is the color that I'm going to use for my ornament. And all we're going to do with this glitter is we're going to brush it on just like we do the paint. But a couple things to avoid. You want to avoid adding this stuff to any areas that are still wet. If you add the glitter to wet areas of paint, all that's going to happen is that the glitter, it's going to dull the glitter. The paint's going to blend in with the glitter and it's going to dull it. And we don't want that. The reason why we're using the glitter, right, is to make everything nice and shiny and bright and pretty. And then the other thing we want to do is we want to take our brushes, whatever brush we're going to use, we want to make sure we clean it up. So for the same reason that there is no wet paint in there that can mix in with the glitter and cause it to dull. Okay, so clean that up. There we go. I'm going to start with my ornament. This is all dry right here. This glitter is pretty thick. Again, glitter glue. All I'm doing is brushing it right in. And you can spread this so the layer gets a little thinner. You can also layer this like you do paint. After this layer dries, you can come back, add another layer right over the top, and it gets super intense. Gets, there's a lot more glitter bits on the surface, and so you get a really shiny, shiny look. Okay. Look at that. A little bit of glitter goes a long way, and you can use that to cover up any areas that you're not happy about. Like, let's say I'm not happy with some of my berries. I'll take some red and put some right over the top. So here's my Craft Twinkles brand with a little bit of red in there. Pour a little bit of that out. Don't need a lot. For this, I'll use a smaller brush. I'll use my little liner brush because the berries are kind of small. And again, clean it up a little bit. Clean your brush up so you don't mix any paint in with your glitter. And then you just come right over the top. And this makes your berries stand out. You can go through this, your whole painting, adding as much glitter as you'd like, depending on the colors that you have. And you can do this later, like I mentioned. You don't have to have glitter today to go, oh, there's that little red spot that I talked about earlier. I didn't fix it, but what I would do is I would make one of the berries bigger so it would cover that area right there, little spot. And look at the difference. Okay, whoops, sorry. Didn't mean to do that there. I was trying to make sure we're still in there. Look at the berries on top. Nice and glittery. Okay. So, my pearl color. Switching brushes here. Grab the pearl paint, pearl glitter, and right up here where the snow is. Okay, I'm going to move a little bit more quickly now. Just go through everywhere where there's snow, and I'll just add some of this. Makes a big difference. Big, big difference. Again, avoiding wet areas. I wait till those areas are dry before I add any glitter there. All right, you get the point. Now I'll do a little bit of green for the leaves. Same thing. This is a little thicker, so I spread it. Use my brush to spread it around. But this really makes a huge impact. Big difference, big change. Maybe you only want to add it to one side of your leaves, maybe the bottom part. Or the top part, right where the sun's coming down. All up to you. You can play around with this a little bit. Okay, so let me show you what that looks like with the leaf. Look at that pretty little leaf. Look at the snow. Look at that. Look at that shiny, shiny up there. I don't think you can tell that much on that one. Okay, but look at all that green. All right. So you guys get the picture. The very last thing, or actually the second to last thing that I would do on this painting is I would sign my piece. I like to sign it with my last name. I didn't sign that one there, the original, but I'll take a color on my palette. Maybe I'll take some pink in this case. Some color that kind of contrasts against the background. You pick a corner, right, left. Most artists will sign their paintings towards one of the bottom corners. But it's your painting. You can sign it wherever you see fit. Just mixing a little bit of water with my paint to make it easier to work with. And I'll come in here probably, let's see. I'll do it over on this side since I'm closer to this side. Just come in here and there we go. Signed. Now the very last thing that I would do, I would flip it on its edge and paint that top edge this light blue color. I'd mix some more of the light blue color, color that in, and we would be in business. I would leave it, I'd let it sit like that to dry, right? If I paint it and I set it down, I've got this little area down here that I missed, but I can add that later. If I paint it and I let it sit on my easel, when I go to take it, remove it later, it'll stick to it like glue, and it could damage the canvas. So anyhow, folks, that is the session for today. I'm going to be on for about another 5 minutes just to say bye to everybody and let you guys ask some questions in the comments. But I want to say a couple of things. First off, that I appreciate all of you guys that are joining me today. I'm hoping you guys had as much fun as I did, or at least half as much, because these events are a lot of fun for me. It's work, like I like to mention, it's work, but it's fun. It's still fun. Put a lot of time into these, and it's a process, but I definitely enjoy you guys being here. I appreciate your time. Please do not forget to send me pictures of your masterpieces. Send them to me via Messenger, or put them in the comments section if you have to, right? Put them in the comments section of this video, the recorded version of this video. But I do plan on sharing your pictures. If you guys could take pictures of yourselves holding them, all of that good stuff, I would most greatly appreciate it. And then don't forget, if you haven't yet, please like the page so you can get all the notifications of all the events that we do here. So like the page, share the page, and I will be adding a few more events towards the end of the month. Events are going to pop up towards the end of the month, but I should have all that updated by the beginning to middle of this coming week. Okay, so you guys stay tuned for those. Also, for those of you that can and are able to, please consider helping support the page a bit with the virtual tip jar. You guys have already seen the information, but it is in the description of this video. Okay? And then I hope to see a bunch of you guys next week on the Olaf painting, and I don't have it here with me, but I do have the Grinch painting that we're going to do next week. Actually, give me 1 second. Let me see if I've got my Olaf painting in here for those of you that would not want to take a sneak peek. For those of you with kiddos, and it's open to everybody. The Olaf session is open to everyone, right? But primarily, I'm assuming I'm going to get a bunch of kids on here. But I will teach you guys how to draw Olaf from scratch, and then we'll paint it. Give me 1 sec. I think I took it home. So sorry about that. But you'll see it. You'll see the event on the event page. But all right, everyone. Just looking at the comments. Sarah Anderson says, "Oh my gosh, Jesse, I'm so happy with my piece. What a way to relax and prepare for the Christmas season. I'll be sprucing, pun intended, mine up and sending a pic soon." Awesome, Sarah. Fantastic. That sounds like a plan to me. Again, if you guys aren't completely done, don't stress out. Go through and, do some touch-ups. Go back to the live video or the recorded version and check that out. Kimberly Fontes says, "My husband and I want to do the beautiful tree one you showed last night. You were asking if we want to do it." Yes, please. Are you talking about the reindeer one, the one with the Christmas trees and the reindeers? Reindeer, Kimberly? Is that the one you're talking about? I don't have it in here. I took it home to take some pictures of it, and I am planning on doing that one as long as this time permits, but I think we'll be okay. Gloria, you got it. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Jennifer, well, message disappeared. Tammy Sharp Moyo, you're welcome. Diane Rodriguez, good night. Jennifer Fieth, thank you for doing these. I had a blast. My pleasure. Okay, perfect, Kimberly. Yeah, I think we're going to add that. Chances are really, really good, probably about 80-90%. Looks like I'm going to be able to squeeze that in, so stay tuned for that, okay? I'll post up the information to that event here in the following week. So, but thank you for letting me know. Yeah, I think that one's going to be a popular one. It's a real pretty one. Suzanne Bergeson, thanks. This was my first session with you. I'm near Modesto. Awesome. Modesto, California. Fellow Californian. Fantastic. Amy Binkley, we had so much fun. Can't wait. Let's see. Can't wait to paint with you again very soon. Awesome, Amy. Hope to have you back. All right, let's see. All right, guys. Sorry, the comments are flying by so quickly. I'm not able to keep up with them. But thank you, guys. Have an awesome and amazing night, and I will see you guys all here very soon, hopefully. All right. Bye now.